Welcome to Dark X You understand? Dark X. Yes. He would take this same himself and work and live there and yes. You understand? Open dark,
You know.
You know your ass late.
Peace, folks, and welcome back to another edition of the Proper Thought Series, right here on the old TPOT YouTube page. I'm your host, X, of course, but you knew that already. That's why you are here. Yeah, I know we late as a motherfucker up in here tonight, but god damn it, y'all. I mean, I didn't get done in the shop, man, till like 9 o'clock, and I didn't even realize how late it was. And just today is a long day. I have to sit down and explain it to y'all sometime, but I was almost not gonna do this shit. Well, I realized how late it was, but I had already promised the brothers, I had promised the OG and Supreme and everybody else. So I said, let me go my ass on. Maybe if I start the show at 10 o'clock, maybe the brothers will still stick around. We can go ahead and rock out. Um, so of course, you know, I had to, I had to, I had to do it. Yeah. So tonight is going to be something that we often talk about quite regularly here on these old YouTube things. Um, Tonight we're going to be talking to the brothers about brothers who choose others. And by others, I mean others than black women. Now, I know this is a controversial topic, um, but before we get started, like every night, I got to thank my contributors. I got to thank my supporters, my donators. I got a few donations last night. I appreciated y'all. Y'all know I appreciate y'all. I always do. I mean, y'all support this channel so much, man. I can't believe how much y'all support this channel, man. It's like I y'all have me speechless. I check my email. I had these donations in there and little notes in there. You'd be like, oh, good work, X, and all that kind of shit. And it's like every time I look at my email, it's like almost like a kid, on his birthday and shit. I'm like, damn, they donated. Damn, they donated too. And I've gotten some new donators. So I guess I got some new subscribers who have taken some interest in this platform, and they choose to donate some coins, and I appreciate it, y'all. Y'all know who y'all are. Usually the people who donate to me are the usual suspects who donate. Y'all know who y'all are, but I've been getting some donations from some new people. I appreciate y'all, man. I do. I mean, I really, really do appreciate it, man. Because like I always say, you don't have to spend your hard-earned coins on this platform, but you choose to do so. And it is greatly appreciated because I consider all of y'all to be supporters, whether you donate coins or not. I consider you a supporter if you watch, if you subscribe, if you share, if you like, if you tell other people about it. You show up here every week. I consider you to be one of the supporters of the TPOT YouTube page. So I thank you because I'm humbled, I'm honored, I'm grateful to all of you. All right. And don't you be forgetting it. But anyway, yeah, tonight we're going to be talking about brothers who chose others. And I know this is one of those subjects that bothers some of us. It doesn't bother me. I mean, me, I have a black wife. My wife is black. Okay, my wife is black. My kids are black. You know, that's just the route that I chose. I mean, when I was younger, you know, I messed with, you know, white hoes and Hispanic hoes, and you know, I didn't care. You know, I didn't care what color you were. You know, you could have been green. I didn't give a shit. But once I got serious and started having kids and decided to get married, it was my choice to be with a black woman. Now, I don't frown on brothers who you know, make different choices. I mean, that's them. That's their life. All right. You know, I'm not into telling people, oh, you shouldn't have did that. No, it's just that I didn't choose to do that. As a matter of fact, I have two grown sons. Both of my sons are married. They are married to Latino women. I don't have a problem with that either. My grandchildren are black and Latino. Um, doesn't bother me at all. They still my grandbabies. They still got my last name. Uh, it is what it is, you know. So I never taught my sons, you know, that they had to get somebody that looked like they mama. You know, I never taught them that bullshit. So you know, they chose the people that makes them happy. These were the women who made them happy. So they married these women, had families with these women. It's all good. They still part of the X clan. Doesn't matter because they spring from my loins, all of them. So it is what it is. So, but here on YouTube, we often have these fights about this stuff. So we're gonna get into it tonight. I think my brother Art the Style is coming through. The OGJ Speed is already here, always on time. Um, Supreme, brother Supreme is supposed to be coming through as well. And I think Great Britain, and I hope my man Jay Shine come through as well. So we probably have a full clip tonight once we get into it. And we're gonna get started. Let me go ahead and go through the chat and shout at everybody before I bring in the OG J Speed. Let me see who we got. What's good, Lando? I see you up there, man. WOTP, what's good? Dark Man Jeff in the house. What's good, brother? Water Sniper in the house as well. So let's get started. OG J Speed, what's good, brother? You muted, OG.
That mic. I got unmuted. I got to unmute it.
Let me put my damn earphones on so I can hear you.
Oh, is that low?
Go ahead. You good? You good?
Oh, I'm good. I'm good. All right. That's good. Hey, man.
What's going on, OG?
Hey, man. Just the same thing, different toilet. You got to make
Yo, man. I'm sorry that I'm late. OG. Long work day, man. I didn't get out the shop, man, till like 10 after 9. I didn't realize how damn late it was, and trying to finish up work and shit, man. And you know, shit just long day today, man. One of them long 14-hour days today, brother. But I'm here.
I know it, man. I've been through that and done that shit.
Long day, man.
Oh man, I can remember them days when I had that OBD2, or let me say that OBD1 when it first came out.
Long day, boy.
You have them long days.
Yes, man. But I'm
let's
here.
get into it then.
Yeah, let's do it.
Let's just do it and wait till the other people come in.
Yeah, they'll filter in slowly.
Okay. Before I get started, I want all the sisters to know, whatever you hear me say tonight, it's not to demean you or disgrace you or talk bad about you. I'm just talking about my experience. That's exactly what I'm going to talk about. And I'm going to be as honest on both sides as I can. And I'm going to remember it just the way it was. All right?
You don't have to get these folks no damn disclaimer. They used to the old TPOT YouTube page. So
well, you know, that's kind of like my thing when I go on the stage doing my comedy. I always like to warm the crowd up just before I like the firecracker up. So I mean, I know we call them disclaimers, but I call it warming up the room. But anyway, started back in 1990 when I first got to California. At that time, I was in the nation, and I was seeking a wife. I wasn't seeking a girlfriend, and it's not that it wasn't quality women's out there that had my same melanated skin color, but there was far and I would say two in between. And when you did see one at one of these events you go through at night, we used to have a thing called the Good Life here in California, where you have all these Pan-African, and you had Dr. Wilson came through.
Wilson.
Yes, she came through. Dick Gregory came through. I mean, but when you see them beautiful black women, they already took it. And then when I look around in the nation, and they were still taking. And so it was just, I didn't want to go out there and just get somebody black, wasn't moving in the same direction I was moving towards. And I figured this shit out a long time ago. When I was in the nation, one of the teachings was one night, Minister Charles I had one night, and he was talking about two alcoholics together. If one trying to get clean and the other one wanting to stay where it's at, then there's going to be some friction. And there's going to be some trials and tribulation in that relationship. And if you can survive it, you might turn out to be an alcoholic all over again. So what I decided to do was say, you know what? I'm just going to open my options. And I was at the laundromat, and I seen this, beautiful Latino woman, and she looked at me and she smiled, and I looked at her, and I smiled back at her, and I said, you know what? I'm gonna go over there and just ask her, what her name is and what her number is. So what I did, I asked her what her name was. She didn't understand nothing I said. She was legal here. She had a green card. She was going to school to learn English. And so I finally was able to, somebody came in who can interpret what I was trying to say, and it was another girl. And I got her name and I got her number. And man, I guess for about first month, we just got on the telephone and said, "Hola, ¿cómo está?" and then hung up. Because neither one of us, I didn't know enough Spanish and she didn't know enough English. So we just call each other and say, "Hola, ¿cómo está? Bien, you too?" And then we hang up. So, and at the time, you got to understand, the nation has strict rules about having sexual intercourse when you practice it, man. That's one, you don't supposed to be doing nothing like that. So we went out on a date, and every time we went out on a date, she had a chaperone with her. It was her little brother. And man, first time I wanted to pick her up, she had on this mini skirt. I had in my suit and bow tie and stuff like that on, and she had on this mini skirt. And I looked at her funny, and her brother could speak English. He was kind of like interpreter. I was like, "I don't like that dress." And she told her brother that her friend told her that black guys like girls in miniskirts. Obviously, she didn't know I was a Muslim. But anyway, it was an honest mistake, her trying to impress me. And so we went out a couple of times, man. It was about like almost 9 months, and I just decided to marry her. We hadn't had any sex before that. I just decided to marry her. And we had talked about a couple of things about not having children. I told her I want to get married, but all my children were so old, like, it wouldn't be fair, and I know, and I asked her, could she deal with that, with an interpretation. Then she had started speaking English a lot better at the time. And she said it would be okay. And man, we got together, and she converted to Islam, and she was Catholic. And I think the first time I went to met my father-in-law, we went to Mexico, and I had just did a movie. She didn't even know I was into acting. She didn't know what I do. She just thought I fix cars because that's what I do when I'm not acting. I love fixing cars. And she just thought I was a mechanic or something. And I went and met her father and her mother in Mexico. And I put on a free boxing camp that summer. And man, and, you know, we had a good time. And make a long story short, she was probably the most beautiful woman as far as inside, outside that I ever met in my life, other than my grandmother. And she was so innocent, man. She was a virgin when I first met her. And that's another reason I married her too, because they say when I was coming up, you get a girl pregnant or you take a girl virtue or you're going to take a virtue, you need to be married to her. You don't kick her to the curb. And that's just the way I was raised. And so for I would violate that as a family trait or a family nationality or whatever you might want to call it, it was something deep inside of me knowing that I couldn't mess over her. And so, and don't think the relationships I had before her, I didn't have some good quality relationships. I did. But I know the direction I was moving into as far as joining the nation. And you don't know how hard that can be just for your family members, regardless of the women you trying to date. And so, you know, that's what it was, man. And it was good. And we separated about 9 years later. It wasn't because of we wasn't getting along. It was because I looked inside our eyes, man, and I said, this woman wants children. And then I guess, you know, in the Latino or the Mexican, especially the Mayan Mexicans, the dark ones, she ain't real dark, but she's dark. They like to have children. And so I said, you know, I had to think about it, man. But I said to myself is, she don't want just one. She want like 3 or 4. And I had to think about it real hard, man. And I just, you know, sat her down one day and said, look, it'll be selfish for me to not let you have children. And so this kind of hurt. So I had to let her go.
But why? Let me interrupt you. Let me interrupt you for a second. This is a good moment right here. So why did you decide to not have children with her? Like why you was just like, was it because of her? Was it because of her culture? Was it because of yours? Was it because you was, you know, in the nation? I mean,
it was a combination of things. I had 4 kids. And my last son, she got to meet him. He was already 18. So I didn't want to have 8 kids. I didn't want to have I just don't want to have no more children. I seen what this world was. I seen how long it took for me to get myself together. And I just didn't want more kids. I raised my son by myself.
so let me ask you this, OG. It seems like you regret letting her go a little bit. Like
I do, but it's just the emotion of thinking about it, that how you can have so much effect on another person's life. And you have to look at your life too. and try to figure out what is the best solution. Now, what I could have went ahead and had children and probably love my children, but it could have went the other way too. That'll be something I would hold over her head by making me feel guilty not to have children. And so what I decided to do was make neither one of us guilty. And we talk now. She's got 3 kids now. She's happy. But it's still an emotional thing for me because, you know, when you have a quality woman like that in your life, what you follow that up with? I mean, I see beautiful Black women out, but I would love to be with her. If you got to understand, I'm so black now. It's like I'm moving from the United States to go to Africa. And I can't get with the hair thing, man. I can't get with the makeup thing. I can't get up with that loud talking. I can't get it up with not having a woman who understands that we both bit by the same dog and we both affected mentally. So that's why I probably didn't, you know, find somebody in the Black community. I'm not saying that it's not quality women in the Black community, but what I am saying, we so messed up in the head, man, that our women get most of all their thoughts from other women who don't look like them. And they pursue to go and act like these other women. And that's not natural for me. No more it would be natural for me to see a skinhead with an afro. Them two things can't live in the same space. And so if I have a daughter by a Black woman and she wants to put relaxer in her head and straighten her hair, man, that would kill me. I spent all my life trying to learn to love myself. Then I'm gonna see somebody else take another life and just taking it upside down and make that child hate herself. Black women don't even understand, man.
Wow. Well, let me swing it over to my brother BMT. What's good, brother BMT? Man, is he there?
Of course. I'm always here for you.
What's good, my brother? My brother.
What's going on, man?
I don't know what your experience is with other women. But if you have some, please share.
I've had my share of women outside of the Black community. Because granted, the first woman to ever told me that I was beautiful, it wasn't a Black girl, it was a white girl. It threw me off my game. You know what I'm saying? I was that, young, little nerdy, buck-toothed, little neat running around. And I was like, dang, why can't these Black girls like me? I thought I was good. I would go buy me some, blow pops and stuff for the girls and stuff. I would really try. And, I didn't get that acceptance. And, they wanted that type of boy, that bad boy. Under no circumstance if am I feeling like on that type of level, but it just wasn't me. It wasn't how I was reared up, in a sense. And, I grew up in a predominantly Christian home, and my parents, my mom, when she moved me to a predominantly white school in the South, if you want to move a Black child to a white school, the district couldn't stop it because they knew the segregation of Blacks and whites was so vast. Like, you could just tell, like, dang, this is literally all white school. So if a black child wanted to go to that school, they would do that. And the thing about it was, the features that I hated about myself around my black people, the white girls loved it. I thought that was very, I thought they were making fun of me. I thought they were. Wow, mind if you want to come with us out there? You know, we had the drive-in movie theater. So they invited me out there. And I found it weird. Now, see, here's the thing about it that I always found interesting. At no time did they ever tell me to sell out my color. See, there's a thing about it when people think that when black young boys get with white girls, they drop their blackness. I ain't never felt no ought to do that. I was still listening to KRS-One. Hell, she started learning the lyrics. She went to the store with her own money, bought me NWA. She started learning about Busta Rhymes and Missy Elliott and all of them. But she was very interested in what I liked. And I found it very interesting because I didn't have to change up who I was as a person. Okay. Now, the thing about it was the pressure that there is now about if you ain't with a black woman, you off code. That shit wasn't how it was back then for me. It wasn't. I grew up in the 80s and the 90s. Ain't nobody was beating on us like that. Like, granted, I lived in the South. Now you would get the eyes of people. Hold on, you walking with a white girl? But it's to be expected. Same thing from the white side. But regardless of that, I mean, I've dated Indian girls. Their fathers weren't going to be front about it. They just stopped talking to you, or they'll move their daughter to another school. Granted, their father owned a hotel, like she owned 2 hotels when I was in Connecticut. You know what I'm saying? So the Indians, they own gas stations and a lot of stuff up there in Connecticut. And her father, I mean, he was hearing all kinds of stuff about me. I played football, I did wrestling, I was on my A game. And he was like, let me meet this boy. When he finally met me, like, I could just tell that I was something different. And I mean, I've dated quite around. I wanted to take my full, but inherently inside of me, I wanted a black woman. I wanted a black woman. Granted, I had to figure and find my way, but I innately was more accepted by different cultures of women, and I didn't feel like I had to do the most. You know what I'm saying? I didn't have to go to the hair store and sit there in the beauty shop while girls gossip and shit. I've done that with a black woman I dated. And I said, baby, come with me to the hair store. Why the hell I need to go there? I never had that one time I ever had when I dated or talked to other girls. And I guess it wouldn't be so much dating, it'd be more so messing around with them. But a lot of girls outside of the black race, and people always talk about getting with a black man is a down tier. That's a false narrative. Look at how many black boys that play on these football teams on white schools and stuff. Look how many times they end up with girls of different races and stuff. Come on, let's be for real. Look at all these boys who play sports, who are at the top of their classes and doing things. Notice they get to pick whatever cultural girl that they want. And it's not that we choose them just because they're white or they're Hispanic or there's something like that. It's the attitude of how they receive us. You understand? Like, and let's be for real. And this is the thing about it. And I understood an emotional tether of what the OG was saying, that, you know what I'm saying, he felt a connection. But I ain't gonna lie, listen, a lot of the other shorties are the other colors, and I'm not coming at our sisters, but I'm married to a black woman. But I'm gonna be for real, man. I didn't have to do the most. I didn't have to prove my blackness. See, that's something that you got to do sometimes with black people, especially when you date in your own culture. You got to prove yourself, your blackness. That you don't have to do that. Now, some men, they do sell out their own blackness sometimes, but that wasn't the case for me. I like what I like because it fit my design for me. And as I was going throughout life, I started to say, like, you know what? With all the things that I'm doing in life, and I'm not causing any problem. I haven't got hemmed up. I haven't hit a curveball. So ain't no nigga gonna tell me who I can and can't date. Y'all can kiss my ass on that. You see, a lot of men, they settle for what they're told to or that they're supposed to take on. That's why I try to worry about a lot of brothers when they be listening to the social media stuff and this YouTube stuff about if you ain't with this certain type of woman, you are cold. Like I said, nigga, then what code fits you, black man? You want to sacrifice your life, and I see that thing about they don't get it, Prophet. When you take on a woman under your name, under your clause, you are responsible for that woman. But she's supposed to uphold and honor you. And I watch a lot of these brothers take on these women, and they don't honor you, brothers. Oh, we out here fighting. No. Don't take the credit for the sisters who marched with the OG and got their ass bit and beat up in the street. Don't take their credit saying that we out here. No. But if that was the case, you wouldn't be carrying on and dressing the way you dress. You wouldn't be dropping your child off at mama's house and be trying to run out there in the streets for those boys. But then after you run your mileage, you done come over to me and think I'm supposed to tune you up and set you straight. No. But I would tell that young man, leave that heifer alone and go get yourself a nice woman that is not a part of the community if you have to. But no matter who you lay down with, they're going to be black. You a black man, whoever you lay down with, that child going to be black. I don't care how you try to slice it. They make sure they let you know that with Colin Kaepernick, Barack Obama, anything you black men squirt out, it's a black person. Y'all don't know how to make anything else. And you see, the thing about it is this for a lot of black men. We're now in the age of date shaming. Of if you ain't loyal to that black woman, you're off code. But I got a question. How long has that black woman been off code with you black men? But I feel like the brother said, I don't want you to perm my daughter's hair, whether I'm in that house with you or not. You're supposed to honor that man. That's his child. If he's doing what he's supposed to be doing, he's paying the bills, and he makes sure that child has food on his table. When you need that permission slip slide or something go down, that man is doing what he's supposed to be doing. You need to honor that man. He said, I don't want you putting no relaxing that child's hair. You honor that man. You don't bring no other man around that man until he gets to meet that man. Hold on, who's this? Who's this to come around my child? Then only your doggone business. But ain't that how a lot of children get abused? You see, that's the problem. Why? You see, when brothers be dating outside the race, they don't really you don't hear that many issues with them and their baby mamas. Notice they got TV shows of black men and their baby mamas, and they make a whole spectacle. But what about the swirler brothers that leave and do their own thing? You don't see their women out there doing TV shows now, do you? Why? Because they understand that shit. You ain't about to make us look fucked up. You're not going to do it. You don't see LeVar Ball's woman out there. You don't see that. You don't see Drake's baby mama out there. See what I'm saying? Like, but see, let it be one of these doggone dudes' baby mama. They'll be out there, but they don't honor and respect their man. But they'll tell you in a heartbeat, you're supposed to lay down and die for them. How do you die for a woman that don't respect you and honor your will as a man? When did that code drop off? Because see, last time I checked, a lot of black men are in the jail or in the grave because of a woman. Let's talk about it. Majority of y'all children get aborted or get thrown by the wayside. Why? Not because of the man. It's a woman. Y'all gotta understand. There's a reason why they say the black woman is God, but she likes to try to play God. But she ain't no damn God. I can tell you that right now. She damn sure ain't no God. More like a demon at times, but ain't no God. Y'all can miss me with that shit. But like I said, man, I dated outside of the race. I've been with other women, but you know what I'm saying? I got lucky. It took me about a year to 2 years to court and understand the black woman I'm with today. And see, I don't know how many brothers can do that right now. You feel me? I don't know how many men can do that. I feel the brother when he said I might have to leave outside of the state because these women nowadays they picking up talking points of that goes against the code of being a black man and woman, of the black man and black woman's relationship. They'll tell you what that white man says in your own goddamn home. You know, hold the hell up, this man ain't in my house. But they'll tell you and try to check you. You say anything to me or my child, you can get the hell out. I'm gonna call the cops. That ain't your woman, bro. That ain't your woman. That ain't no damn shit. That's that woman trying to check you with that white man and put you in your place. That ain't your bitch. That's an agent. And she will gladly tell your child in front of that judge to treat you like a less than. And I watched black men, the strongest of men, break down in front of that white man as he slammed that hammer down. Go ahead, Prophet.
Well, let me ask you this. Do you think that when brothers decide to be with, a Latino woman or an Asian woman or, a white woman for that matter, are we betraying? Are we betraying black folks when we do that? Whether we're having children or not. We're going to talk about having children, later on down the line in the show. But let's say that you're not. Say you're not having children with these women. You're just, these are the women you're dating, or you're deciding that you want to get engaged to a woman that's of another race, another color. Are you betraying the race when you do that? Do you believe you're betraying the race when brothers do that? Now, me, I don't think you're betraying anybody, because like I said at the top of the hour, my grandchildren, okay, a couple of my grandchildren their mothers are Latinos, because both of my sons, my two oldest children, my sons, they are both married to Latino women. So I have grandchildren that are black and Latino, okay? Right. Black Latinos. Now, they're my grandbabies. I love them. I'll die for them. I don't give a shit what they mix with. But I didn't feel like my sons betrayed the race because they married and my daughter-in-laws, they cool in the gang. I treat them just like my daughters, talk shit to them and the whole nine, because they part of the clan, goddamn it. And I don't feel that way because I know my grandchildren are going to be treated like they black no matter what, because the way they look, because their mothers are, they're not light Latinos, they're, fairly dark Latino women. So no matter what, just because they got a Spanish speaking mama, they're still going to be treated like black kids. So I don't have a problem with it at all. But do you think we're betraying? Is the race being betrayed if you're dating women who aren't black?
No, it's not. Because your first priority goal as a black man is to make sure yourself is on point. You want to pull your weight, you make sure you on point. Second thing is secure your legacy. I tell this to all black men. Make sure you got yourself squared away before you start going out there and making these babies and I got to get out there and reproduce. See, because goddamn, a dog can reproduce. But see, it takes a real man to actually be on code with himself. Get yourself a goddamn job. Get a career. Keep your ass out of trouble. Honor your neighbors. In other words, when I say honor your neighbors, I ain't tell you kiss no ass, but I'm saying, listen, man, don't be causing no problem in the goddamn community, man. I know that's hard for some of y'all, but just keep to yourself, man. If you can't keep to nothing else. Now, when it comes to finding somebody, see, here's the thing about it. Because when brothers are making moves and doing stuff in their life, you're going to start getting exposed to women. And I'm going to be for real, but I'm going to tell you right now, when you start doing certain moves in your life, like Prophet, the OG, and I have, you will get exposed to other women that will say, wow, you're doing all this. This is black excellence. And they will yield to that power. Now, sometimes you might get lucky and you might find a female before then that will ride the mileage with you. Now, you can find her, praise be Allah. That's a miracle. Shit. It's a real miracle. We can't talk about that high school love lasting up to the wonder years. That's a miracle. Prophet and I know about that. That don't happen much in the world. Because you can't just tell a woman, I'm gonna go off to war, I'm gonna go make my fortune, wait for me. She's like, okay, nigga. Jerome, yeah, that nigga gone. What's up? Like, as soon as you get on that goddamn Greyhound bus, best believe she will have somebody else right there available. Just like the brother was saying. He saw plenty of good looking honeys when they came in the club and he want to holler, but they're already snatched up. So the thing about it is, see, this is the thing I find the disingenuous thing. They're going to tell you to wait. Wait until that one comes. But see, no man is promised tomorrow.
Mm-hmm.
So if you're doing what you need to be doing and you climb to the top of the tree, you should have to be able to pick whatever apple you so choose. Because when I tell a woman, hey, I'm doing X, Y, and Z, if you with me, sit by me. If you're not, keep it going, shorty. And you see, I'm not off cold because I'm being loyal to number one, me. And that's the problem with a lot of brothers. You ain't being loyal to the first code, yourself. Make sure you have yourself squared away before you start checking other brothers on who they can and can't be with. I would be asking you, what are you doing right now? I see a lot of you brothers trying to tell a lot of black men how they need to move and operate. But see, like brothers like Ramel, they out here making babies and not taking care of them. Nah, he's just being about his business. And you see, that's the problem. You other Negroes, y'all don't even know what the hell your child is right now. So the brothers who are being accountable, you should be able to choose because you worked for it. I don't think the men and women that came before you who fought for a right for you to choose die so that way you go and be like a sheep. Let's call it like a sheep. You shouldn't have to be a sheep and take on the leftovers or the scraps. Or you might get lucky. It's like hitting the lottery. Hopefully you get the right coochie. No, you should be able to pick what your credit earned you. You worked hard as a man. You deserve the right to pick what you so choose as a man. So long as you raise them children under your household, they're your children as a black man. And that's the problem. We let too many people in our damn house and rule over us and not you ruling over yourself as a man. I pass it to you, Prophet.
Well, let me swing it over to the OG because he's been at this shit longer than all of us. Let me ask you why, OG. Why do you think, brothers? And I guess when you were it was a while back. I'm assuming that it was a while back when you were, dating a Latino woman. Is it the same then as it is now? When you were dating a Latino woman, were you dating her for the same reasons that brothers kind of say they date different women from different races now? Because they don't like the attitude, they don't like the fact that they're baby mamas, they don't, that kind of stuff. Was it the same for you back then, OG? Good luck, Carl's opinion. What's up, man? Been a while, man, since you've been up in here, man. What's good? Go ahead, OG.
I just like to apologize to your audience for my emotional outburst, but my father died 1996 on this same day, so it was a lot in that.
Oh, man. Okay. I know that, OG.
Yeah,
right, but it's all good though. It's all good.
It's
you
all
don't
good.
have to apologize. You don't have to apologize for nothing.
I just want to.
You don't have to apologize for anything. Nothing. You don't have to apologize for nothing. You don't have to apologize for nothing.
Before I start off, I want you to listen to this, and then you'll see what I think about today. It ain't gonna be but like 2 minutes. Just listen to it.
It's all good, OG. I can't hear it that good, OG. I can hear a little bit.
Okay.
Might have to turn it up a little bit.
All right. I'll just go ahead and cut it off. I think my brother probably heard it. I don't know if you heard it real good. But anyway, that's the way I feel about the community. And I think in your question is it's worse now. Because it's not only just the black women in this country, it's starting to be with all the women in this country. It's a narrative. That's why I'm moving out. And that's why I want to go and finish and complete finding myself by connecting to the motherland. And then I know I'm going to find me a beautiful wife there. Maybe find more than one. But yes, it's worse now, man. It's I mean, you got some brothers going through some shit with some white girls, man, Spanish girls. It don't, man. It's a narrative. We live in the what's his name, Canaan's wife. Every time you turn around, Kardashians. We were living in that world, man. And you can't go on the internet and you know this for yourself without seeing a Kardashian and something she don't did what she was wearing, her shoe broke, or a dress slipped up, or she was naked. I mean, you can't go without seeing a lot of that. And it's spreading like wildfire in all the communities. And so when you understand that, that brother was absolutely right in everything he said. Because back in the day, before I started getting conscious of myself, I was a DJ in the 70s, man. I had all them type of fools, man. And I was loving it because I was a fool myself. So that goes back to my first point was two drunks getting together, one trying to get well and the other one trying to stay where they at. You're going to have some problems in that house. And that's what's going on in our house. And we got a particularly unusual situation in the black community due to the fact that we were retrained from our own nature to be someone else other than ourselves. Now, we all wear that mask, but some of us just so happy to wear it. So, yeah, it's much worse now. And I'm going to turn it over to, I'm trying to read his name, Art Nation. I can't hardly see the small print.
Yeah, that's my man, Art and Style.
All in Style. I'm going to turn
yeah, that's my brother right there, boy.
Because he just came in. So I'm going to just go leave it at that, man. It's worse, man, because it's in all neighborhoods now. All right. I'm gonna leave it at that.
Well, we done been joined by my brother, Art Style, up in here. What's good, brother Art?
Oh, brother, just got through doing my panel, so I had to jump on and give you my support like I normally try to do.
Yeah, I was actually over there for a few minutes, but I was running so behind, I didn't even have time to fuck with you a little bit because I didn't even start the stream like 10 o'clock, man.
Yeah.
So let's just get right into it because you know what we're talking about tonight. What? Because I asked other brothers this too. I asked OG this as well. What made it? Well, let me rephrase this. When you went out to get your wife, or you sought out a wife, were you already focused on marrying someone other than a black American woman, or did it just kind of happen? You met your wife, y'all fell in love, or was that your purpose? Did you just be like, you know what? When I find me a wife, she ain't gonna be one of these black American hoes. I'm gonna find somebody real. I mean, what was it?
Well, mine is kind of unique because I was going back and forth. I was dating, black American sisters and international, well, not simultaneously, but just back and forth. And, well, for my wife particular, just for people to understand, that's a black woman. Before the frown, so that's a black woman with nappy hair. Okay, but anyhow, the thing was, I was doing work, and I just happened to run into the sister, and we just hit it off. You know, and it was my situation was more where it was just unexpected. Because basically I was just trying to make my little money and stuff like that. And so I don't know. Sometimes when you have that encounter and you have that contact, sometimes you just can't you can't just break that connection. And so that was one of those situations, and I was old enough to know the difference. Um, but other than that, man, I started understanding also that this was pretty much the flavor I was looking for, but I didn't know it was in that particular land.
Mm.
So, I mean, that was the part where, you know, I still stay connected to my sisters and stuff like that in America, but this particular flavor right here worked out for the needs that I have personally, because I don't want to make anything in a large, broad stroke per se, but for just what, for my needs, it fits, because I'm very international, and that's where it got me. And it was funny because I never thought, I know I said this in your panel before, but I never thought I'd be able to, settle down with a Brazilian woman for all the different rumors and stereotypes. But when
So
you start,
did you met your wife in Brazil, or was
yeah,
she
in Brazil,
here? Oh, okay. Okay.
in Brazil,
Okay.
while I was teaching out there, you know, and some of the students, when the students that have lunch, they invite family and all kinds of different people. And so therefore, you know how you get the eye contact or whatever, and you keep looking if they got the second look. So it was just one of those things where we're on the same page and we just start communicating more and more, you know. And it's funny because I had to meet I was meeting some of the family. I mean, she turned out to be very churchy. So the family was like, he's a good dude, that kind of thing. But they said in Portuguese, of course. And, we just hit it off, So that's my little story.
Yeah, I noticed you said the word churchy. I've said that before
Yeah,
too.
yeah,
Churchy.
she's very churchy, man. Pentecostal. Yeah, the whole family. Her mom is the evangelical. What do you call it? She's an evangelical minister.
Mm, okay.
So the whole
Okay.
family is like, damn, but it's cool.
So everybody's churchy.
Yeah, it's
Okay.
churchy, man. So it's kind of interesting when you sit in their churches compared to the ones over here. It's a whole different vibe.
All right.
I
All
think
right.
they like way back in the '60s with chap lips and all that shit.
Wow. Well, we done been joined by my
Oh my
brother
lord! No, but they be saying bigger words.
AM1 is in the house. It's been a while, brother. What's good?
Brother X, what's good? What's good? What's good? What's up to my esteemed brothers on the panel? How y'all doing?
Brother AM1, I'm waiting on you to come draw with us on our panel, brother. You've been too busy for us.
Man, I want to. I want to get in on some digital art and set it up to where I can have it pop up on a screen too, like with the OBS or just screen share. However I could do it. Aim my camera at something. I'm gonna come. I'm gonna come. I just be so random, how I work freelance. I'm never on a specific set time.
Yeah, every Tuesday, 5:30.
Oh, so you have a set time. Okay, okay. So then I
Mm-hmm.
could try to aim for it now that I know. Now that I know.
Oh
You guys are
yeah,
talking
it,
about
it goes
brothers
down
that.
on Art and Style TV, man. I be down there too. It goes down.
No, it's hella like inspirational too. I remember seeing art sketching on this channel, or oh no, on somebody else's live stream, and I was like, I need to get my sketch game
Yeah,
up.
I don't get to he comes on so early in the evening. I don't get to catch his lives all the time, because sometimes my ass don't even freaking get home till like 9:30 at night. So he go on 5, 6. I miss the damn lives and shit. But I've been trying to catch as many as I can. But anyway,
Yeah, I'm
um
trying to grow with it.
brother AM1, I don't know what your dating preferences are. I know you're not a married man, but I don't. Um, do you date other women besides black women? Let me just go ahead and ask you that.
Sure. Why
Okay.
not?
Okay. So, is there particular woman that you go after? Do you just go after women, or do you be like, you know what, tonight I'm gonna get me a Latino woman. Tonight I'm gonna get me an Asian woman. Like, I mean, how is it? Let us know what goes on in the mind of AM1 when he stalks his prey.
That's hella funny. No, I'm gonna keep it a buck. Like pretty much my whole situation is uh relative to the kind of work that I do, the kind of my interest. You know what I mean? I'm real interested in music, art, and I live in a Bay Area, Oakland, so it's like a heavy art scene, music scene. So I'm in these kind of functions. I throw events too, so I'm extremely calculating about the kind of women I even deal with because you kick it with one woman for a certain amount of time, that's going to get around to everybody and everybody's in your mix and all that. Like, not that I have anything to hide, but you know what it is. Like the telephone game, somebody say something about you, for you heard you got a baby on the way or some shit. Somebody coming back at you saying, or you did somebody shady, or, it's relative to my business first. So I say that to say, I deal with women first off who have a similar interest, what I would call a cultural relevancy more so than anything before even race, and then even more so maybe about business, what they're about. Like that's how I vet women that I deal with. What are your interests? What are you about? Before I even get into race. Now, if you ask me my preference, I prefer black women. I think black women by far are the most beautiful thing ever created. But does that mean black women are really feeling me quite like that? I can't say that. You see what I mean? Like people oversimplify this. You should just be with a black woman. I'm like, well, wait a minute. Do black women like those particular black men? You feel me?
So here lately, especially here on YouTube, and I talked about this with the other brothers. Um, do you think that is there an increase of brothers saying, "Hey, I'm gonna get me a white woman. I'm gonna get me a Latino woman. I'm gonna get me a woman from Brazil, or an Asian woman." Do you think that it's a increase of that? Do you think that now, with the freaking media craze, and the manosphere talks, and all this red pill MGTOW stuff, that brothers are gobbling up over the past few years? Do you think that it's this mass exodus to be with women that aren't black?
Yeah, and I definitely that. But I think a lot of brothers are oversimplifying it. I mean, I've came up with a lot of brothers that say they, mess with other races of women for various reasons, and off top say I don't mess with black women, and I'm like, bruh, that's going a bit far. But I understand their arguments. I mean, part of it's relative to what is defined as American black culture. Most of that is identified with things that don't really mean anything. Just how much you're involved in social type commentary type concepts, how, your interests are music or Beyonce or just mainstream culture, or more of a hood type culture mentality, or some kind of pseudo intellectual liberal type culture. So for a brother that's not interested in any of those things, I see why he would distance himself from that. And then again, like the point I was making before, if he finds similar interests with a woman who's not black, because where he's at, maybe the black women are just trying to be on some turn up hood shit, or on some like hyper liberal type mentality, then I see why he's like, well, I'm gonna go deal with these women that are more into the type of culture or style or events that I like. Like, it's a path of least resistance kind of thing. But no doubt, a lot of brothers are saying, or I'm hearing them say it in real life and here on YouTube for sure. I'm definitely not messing with black chicks no more, yada, yada, yada. And a lot of that is because black women are being portrayed in media in a fucked up kind of way. So are black men. But a lot of men and women are playing into it. A lot of women want to have the big booties, the fake nails, going way out of their way for all these nigga trinket type things, and then mad that some brothers ain't rocking with it, and then want to call you a coon if you ain't trying to be on this, mediocre nigga shit. So I mean, I get it from both sides. For the women that's saying, well, not all women, I'm like, well, you should be checking those other women. But there's crickets when you say that.
Oh, absolutely. You know that's never going to happen. That's never
Right.
going to happen. Never.
No, I see what it is. I'm not of the camp to say white women are better or other races of women are better. I don't say none of that because I don't really like to even generalize like that. But I see where folks are coming from. And until black women are willing to call out the fuckery that is being done by their sisters, then yeah, it's going to keep going. And it does appear to be true. Black men have more options, whether it be other women are fetishizing or they just like black men. I know, I mean, I live in the Bay Area. It's real diverse here. All these races of women be ready to rock with your boy. So I know my selection is vast. So if sisters ain't feeling me or they want to be on some like ratchet shit, I'm like, I'm not ratchet. I'm not wild. I'm not loud. I'm not all on some nigga shit. I'm not trying to be on some turn up trap pseudo thuggery nonsense. I'm not on this hyper liberal shit too that's popping off in the Bay where everything got to be blackety black and LGBT this that everything and we got to integrate and all this PLC whatever. I mean it's something that's funny business. I just back up off that. I stay in my own lane because shit the way my life is I don't really have to bend to any of that. So it's like hey, the women I resonate with who understand my business and my art, what I would call my culture, that's who I rock with. If it happens to be a Latina, cool, I'm rocking with it. If it happens to be some Asian chick, Filipino, whatever. If it's a black chick, cool. And also keep it in mind, I'm not of the mentality where I have to necessarily exclusively date any woman, period. So I keep my options open anyway. Go ahead.
I think the biggest rub with people, um, now I'll probably catch some heat from this, but I don't give a shit. I think the biggest rub is when brothers are with white women. I don't think people really mind, you being with, if you got a Latino woman or, they may feel a certain kind of way, about an Asian to a certain degree. I think it's the white woman that bothers black folks the most. Okay. I think
Facts.
that because the biggest dynamic, I mean, of course, I don't know how many races in this country, in this world, but I mean, I think the biggest dynamic when you talk about, especially when you're talking about skin tone, right? Not necessarily race, but skin tone. I think the biggest dynamic is black and white. Okay. That's where the problems come in. That's what people always refer to. This is what we always hear. White people do it too. White women do it too. White folks this, white folks that. So I think people have the biggest problem when they see a brother with a white woman. Not so much of them seeing a brother with a Latino woman or even an Asian woman. I think the problem is when it's a white woman. That's where I think the problems start. I mean, what you brothers think?
I agree. That's definitely been my experience. I mean, I see black women jumping up and down, going way crazier when they see a black man with a white woman versus any other race of woman or ethnicity or whatever. But when it boils down to it, you get a sister that's been dry for too long and not had no male attention. If she sees him with anybody who ain't black, then she gonna be mad too. So yeah, but you're absolutely right though. When it becomes the whole dichotomy of black versus white, they typically short circuit that much more and be that much more mad. But of course, I'm just like shut up and compete. But go ahead, y'all.
Well, I agree along with it too, and I think it goes a lot further. I think when it comes to that, white, white and black has a deep issue in this country. We have a deep history in this country, and it ain't been too good for black people. So I guess when the sisters do see you, even if they don't call them self-conscious, it's just something in the back of their head, just due to the history of it. And another thing too, I want to ask all the people in the chat box and all the people listening to the show, and even ask you brothers too, because I had this experience this morning. And I said, what is the numbers when you put this map together? When I see a brother with a white woman, and I see the brother, he speaks. I mean, every once in a while you'll find a brother who probably won't speak or feel intimidated. I don't know what it be, but they don't speak. But I can tell you, ask you brothers and everybody who's listening to the show right about now, How many times have a black woman who was walking with a white man ever spoke to you as a brother? It happened to me this morning. She couldn't even give me eye contact. And so what I'm saying is, yeah, we got some issues, but I think the two are totally different when the outlook it's been my experience, and it might not be anyone else's experience, but sisters you don't even give you contact when they with a white guy, but brothers usually give sisters or other people contact, you know, and then it's just not happening on every every class or every age, every generation. It's happening throughout. It happens stop and it's go get worse.
Yeah, I see like brothers with their jaws clenched up and fists balled up or whatever, thinking that somebody's gonna say something funny to them. And I had to let them know, man, it's cool, man. You know, do your thing, dude. And they're like you know, like at ease, like, you know, like it took a deep breath or something. And I'm like, man, you know, it ain't that serious. Just enjoy your snow. Just, you know, but just don't take it so crazy. You know.
I think I mean, I don't know. It gets kind of confusing sometimes because I don't know, you hear people say, oh, you know, don't do this and don't do that, right? And then you turn around and you hear people say, well, if you got one drop of black blood, you black. So what difference does it make? Who you be with if we living by the so-called one drop rule that everybody talks about? Shoot, you get date a horse and the little half horse baby will still be black, right? According to these people, according to these people, you know, because that's what they date a horse. I mean, that's what they say. Oh, you got one, you know, you got one drop, you know, you're black. So why should it matter if you know, your lady that you're procreating with is Latino or Asian or white? I mean, you then had a baby with her, so automatically that baby black, right? Which is it? Which is it?
It's a bunch of bullshit. That's what it is.
You know.
Anybody gonna holler at that? Because I holler at that. I don't want to monopolize the show.
Go ahead. Pull the trigger.
That right there exposes that it is some straight up bullshit. Because what it really is all about is that point I made earlier. When black women who realize to a large degree that their main and possibly only real option by and large for dating is black men, when they see that black men have other options and are willing to act on it, they get fearful. They realize that their option pool thins out that much more. So they will try every possible mental gymnastic move to try to shame black men into staying with them, including trying to use things like genetic type concepts, you know, race mixing, what's, you know, the future, breeding black folks out, all these different things, none of which will happen or really relevant, is really just boiling down to, I want somebody for me and I don't have anybody and I'm fearful that I might not have anybody. And I know the most likely somebody I will have is a black man. And if they ain't feeling me and I'm seeing them with Becky's or a chick with a taco or Ling Ling or whatever, they're
He
just
said
fearful.
A chick with a taco.
That's all it is. It's fear. It's fear. It's fear. It's fear. And I find that fear funny, and I'll chuckle at it. Go ahead.
You know, M1, this is King Sigma speaking. Thanks for sending me the link, Prophet, man. I really
Sigma,
appreciate
what's good, brother?
Man, it's pretty rainy out here. You know, just checking in on YouTube. Haven't been on in a couple of weeks, man. I saw the topic, and right away, you know, I thought this is something I wanted to listen to. And I heard AM1 going in, you know, he's out there in California. And I think, you know, depending on what state you're in, what region you're in, that whole interracial dating out thing takes on different forms. You know, California is known for that. Out here in the Midwest, it's big. And it probably isn't the same thing, you know, like down in the South as it is on the West Coast, in the Midwest, and, you know, definitely like in New York. And if you go to those places, you see the reality. In the chat, I don't know how many of you guys watched the NFL draft this year and the NBA draft tonight. but I've always enjoyed watching the draft, and I think it's pretty obvious. See, the reason that we keep having this conversation is now that it's all becoming visible, right? So the whole interracial dating out thing is becoming visible because of the internet, because of the exchange information. But if you think about it, it really started with Gen X, the dating out thing really, but they didn't have the light on them because we didn't have the internet. Because look at LeVar Ball, for example. He was in the news this week. LeVar Ball is a man that's in his 50s or even maybe early 60s. He had a white wife. He has 3 or 4 mulatto children. Look at Klay Thompson, Michael Thompson's son, Blake Griffin's dad. See, it's just now that, the millennials are getting the light because they're doing it openly online and sharing the footage, but it really took off with Gen X. So if you look at the NFL draft and NBA draft with the youngest millennials, all I see are pretty much mixed women or white women or Asian women with these dudes. And no one can deny this. So what's happening is that there's like a brain drain going on in Black America, and it's been going on for a generation. But it's just that the light is shining because of millennials with access to social media, YouTube, and they're having a conversation. But it really started with Gen X, but it just exploded with the millennial generation now openly because we're seeing the footage. For example, if you follow people like a Brian Solange, Tommy Sotomayor, Kid Organic, what they do, they highlight a lot of the kind of video footage that Black women themselves upload to World Star Hip Hop or that gets reported news. If you just sit down and observe the kind of behavior that these women themselves are promoting of their own image, image is important. Perception becomes reality in a lot of situations because we base so much on first impressions. So if you keep getting all this information over the course of a whole generation that this is the image of these women, you're going to consider the women in that dating supply most of them be jump offs and side pieces, and you're not going to really take them seriously as far as relationship material. So I think that gets overlooked a lot, that this is not like something that just exploded with the millennial generation. This was already going on with Gen X. It's just that we get the attention because we have the smartphones and we have the social media, and a lot of the Gen Xers are really not into the tech to that extent. And then you got the other side of it, the Black women, what they do. See, that we don't talk enough about what the Black women themselves are doing to their own image. They're the ones that are destroying their image. They are the ones that are letting white feminists and white people and other groups laugh at them. They have whole bookstore sections in Barnes and Noble of interracial fantasy fiction, man. I mean, and it's 90% of it is for Black women. This shit is disgusting, bro. That's why I've been waiting for you to bring Shahrazad Ali on, because to me, she represents like one of the last of a dying, energy in Black women. Like she represents a dying kind of woman. I don't see a lot of women like that out here. And then the women that are like that, they just sit on the sideline and say nothing and do nothing. It's unbelievable. Black men are at war with each other over our image every day. The so-called thug, the non-thug, the corporate guys, the Robert F. Smith type guys, they are at war saying, we're going to take the flag for this image, and they're calling each other out on their bullshit with no problem. No problem calling each other out on it. But the Black woman in mass sits on the sidelines and lets her image be completely destroyed. I know you guys saw the DC footage of the girls jumping on the cop car. This shit was just unbelievable, man. This is what we're dealing with. But then you get a Black man like a Robert F. Smith type dude, Reginald Lewis, any guy that's successful, and he gets himself in an environment where the women are choosing him. We don't talk enough about the predatory nature of women in general, regardless of their race. When you become a man of success and means, women make you the target. It's not like these dudes are going out there writing books about how to get a Black woman or a white woman or shit like that. They're just putting themselves in a successful position, and the women are being drawn to them, and they're getting the choice of the most beautiful feminine woman. That's the standard that most men want in a woman. Feminine, cooperative, and very sexually attractive. That's what a man wants in a woman. He'll take what he can get, a lot of dudes, but if he has the option of 100 women and he can get the 10, 9, and 8, he's going to get that. It ain't about her skin color or no features. It's about if she is the most beautiful feminine woman he can get. It's that simple for men.
Wow.
Women got an easy fucking job if you really think about it. Women are superior in the sexual marketplace. Women are born for the most part with all they need. If they get a good amount of like social engineering and socialization from their parents and their community, they're pretty much set. Especially if they're born with good looks. I'm not even talking about 9, 10s. I'm talking about a good-looking feminine woman. That means she's a 6 to 7, or even if she's lower, but she has a sexual appeal and her femininity, she can do pretty damn good. A male has to become a man through proper decision makings, experience, and the learning life's hard lessons. He has to become a man. He has to attain status and success. So he has to build on what he was born with. Don't really mean nothing. It's what he accumulates in as far as like his personality, his charisma, his financial resources and status. He has to accumulate all this shit. Women don't have that challenge like we do, but we don't talk about this.
No lies told.
This is why I love Brother Sigma, God damn it, coming up on here only on the TPOT YouTube page. You know. We have been joined by Brother RJ. What's good, Brother RJ? You want to weigh in on this, brother?
Hey, peace, brothers. What's going on? Thanks for having me on, Brother X, and peace to the panel. Hope everybody's doing well. I just got to finish from the gym, so I'm exhausted. I'm not in the mood to debate. So I'll keep it simple. I'm just going to say my stance on it. Brother X, you probably heard my stance on it before.
Yes, I know.
Yes. Salute to Brother Sigma. A lot of the stuff, brother, just you got it, G. You got it. He just a lot of stuff. It's hard to even follow up behind all that because he dropped some heat, and I agree with him. My thing is this right here, and everybody's gonna say he's matriarchal and all this old shit. I have an appreciation for what we are, right? And it's not about tone with me. It's just about us preserving, at least with me. I appreciate or would like to see a future where my children are playing with children that look like them, and where so basically the same talking points that you would hear from a Jared Taylor or that you would hear from a Richard Spencer in reverse, straight up and down. I feel like just as they feel as though it's important for them to preserve their culture, their I won't even say the culture part too much, more so our characteristics and our unique, what make us unique. The culture, that's gonna, because of us living here in North America, that's gonna have to come on an individual basis, unfortunately, because our culture is jacked up. I think we all can agree on that. By and large, we would have to pull culture from the past, or just again implement something that means something to us that's dear, some a code of conduct, if you will, that we can pass on to the children. With me at 12 years old, I got influenced by the 5% Nation, and so I believe in black man, woman, and child. I believe in hey, if I'm the original man of the planet Earth. You know what I mean? I believe in GoD. You know what I mean? When I look in the mirror, because I'm out here making moves and I'm doing all that. And I damn sure believe in who the devil is walking on this planet. So I'm saying all that to say is that I have no interest in mixing with anything else other than a black woman. I'm damn sure not mixing in with a white woman. And if other brothers are doing it, cool. I'm not here to, sling mud, do your thing, whatever. I just, because we're all grown. Now, I mentor a lot of youth with the IOTA Youth Alliance with my fraternity. And that topic comes up, and I let them know, hey, man, while it's important to, find someone that's, that you're rocking with, that you're vibing with, things of that nature. I believe in putting my group first, and I let them know the importance of why you should put your group first. I believe that we bring so much to the table collectively that I don't see a reason. I don't see a benefit, more so, of mixing in with other cultures. Now, people saying, hey, I'm fed up, I'm going my own way, fine, do your thing. I'm just talking about myself and the people that I and my small circle, or even the brothers and sisters that I mentor. And so that's my whole thing on it. I when I'm aggressive, Brother X, you probably heard me say stuff like, oh, that's one law the white man fucked up on. He should have left that shit illegal. Yeah, but I'm not in the mood to debate tonight because, like I said, I'm about to hop in this shit shower after leaving the gym. So it is what it is.
Oh, it's all good. I mean, I don't censor my guests, so you're allowed to say whatever you want
I
on
don't
here.
see anything wrong with what you said. I don't see anything wrong with what you said, but see,
Nope.
the only problem is that it was so vague. See where we get in trouble is the vagueness, because we'll say our group, and then you got to understand that the one problem when you can try to compare the American black people to any other group, there is no other group like American black people. No other group has had a total destruction of their historical legacy, their language, their motherland, history. Everything was taken from that group and then engineered artificially. See, so when you say like other groups and their cultures, those groups have been able to keep their culture mostly intact. Even the Jews, who were a nomadic people, they've had their Judaism. Judaism has been the code that binded all Jews on the planet, no matter where they were, what kind of situation, if they were at the top of society, bottom, Holocaust, whatever. All other groups were able to keep something intact. We kept nothing intact because of our certain, the descendant of American slaves. Our history is so unique because of that. They took everything, the language, the history, the traditions, any connection to the motherland.
Right.
And then it was only in the last 60 years that black people began to get first. Some people will argue we still aren't there, but that we began to even be considered citizens. You know what I'm saying? Only in the last 6 years. So we are the most American group of any group. No other group has the problems that we have. I just now found out my DNA for my family roots in Africa, and then I did the National Geographic that tells your DNA completely. Like it goes back all the way. I found out that my black ass, even though my family's from Cameroon genetically, prior to that, we came through Asia, because the National Geographic study does the larger history, whereas African history tells you, okay, this is where your most recent African relative was, right? And so when you're talking about the Black Americans, we are such a unique group in that way, because from the cultural aspect, everything that we had prior to coming here was taken away through the slave breaking process over the course of those 250 years. Then with the Jim Crow, not being able to build wealth, and being discriminated against, being barred from certain kind of trades, being barred from certain kind of fields for a whole 3 or 4 generations. And then boom, now you guys have to compete. Now black men. So when you talk about the sexual market aspect of it, remember, no group was more policed over the course of history in America than the black man and the white woman.
Absolutely.
So much of what existed prior to just recently, black men didn't really have a lot of freedom on a group level to just go out and be chosen and select. And I think what's happening is that with the millennial generation and with the Gen Xers, they're just like, you know what? I'm tired of being policed by white society, the dominant society, and I'm tired of being policed by other groups who don't offer a better alternative. See, we don't talk about the better alternative. We just want to get, we get on the kumbaya shit, which sounds good. And I do like what the brother said. He said, in my small group, this is a expectation that I push, which is smart, because he's keeping it on a small group level. And he's saying that this is the group that I'm associating with, and we're exchanging, relations with each other. We're doing almost like a Jack and Jill fraternity type of situation. That works. But when you try to apply that to a bigger scale for Black Americans, then it's not going to work, because you got to have something that binds the people that's greater than themselves. Blacks, all you can say is that I'm Black. But the problem is that because of the class aspect and because of the regional aspects, you're going to have a lot of problem connecting all Black people on the same page. With Black men, a lot of Black men are saying that we're just now finding out that they got this thing that the Black American woman has been pushing called the Black female agenda, without not giving 2 fucks about us. We're just trying to create our own agenda,
And King Sigma, to your point, brother, since you've mentioned all that, that's more reasons why I don't see the benefit in mixing with those folks, and them in particular. Now let's put everything back together. As far as you mentioned the vagueness of my statement, when I'm referencing when I referenced our culture, I mentioned that would be up to the individual, particularly the father, the male, right? because because it's so mixed up, and like you mentioned, we know our history is scrambled up, destroyed, erased, diluted, whatever the case may be, whatever word you want to fill in the blank. So with knowing all that, I can't see the benefit of, we don't have any allies. Okay, even the people that look like us from other countries aren't our allies for the most part. So I don't. So my mentality is, well, you know what, I'm gonna mate and relate with and to those who look like me, those who share and can relate to my struggle. And as far as the alternative, let's unpack the alternatives. The alternatives are the obvious, right? Brothers doing what they're already doing. But other than that, if I begin saying, okay, well, what's up with the Afro-Brazilians, or what's up with the Haitian? And even though these are different cultures, now we're mixing cultures, but that's fine, because the reason I'm okay with the whole cultural mixing, because we're just going to get into some never-ending BS. It's just going to go on into an infinity, right? So if I got with a Haitian chick, yeah, on the surface level, okay, I'm black, she's black, right? But whatever her culture is, it's going to be ingrained in the child, because she's the first teacher. And if I come along with my ideologies and saying, hey, I'll make sure, this child is raised with these types of principles, then boom, that's the culture. That's the culture of this particular household, because again, collectively, we don't have one. So we have to create that code of conduct, because my code of conduct is, if I see King Sigma in a jam, I see him getting jumped by these skinheads. I don't know him. All I see is an avatar. I got his back. You know what I mean? I'm going over there and I'm gonna risk it with him. But that's not everybody's code. Some people are gonna say, well, we don't know what he did. That could have been a drug bust, whatever the case may be. And so that's my idea of being on code. But again, everybody, people disagree. And I'm learning that more and more and more the more I travel these YouTube spaces. So that's how I feel about this interracial dating stuff. I mean, it's gonna keep coming up. And what's the first thing they say when you bring it up to the brothers? Oh, why are you dick policing? And I think that's a shaming tactic, because when we used to get a sister's hell, at least my people did. When we used to get a sister's hell for doing it, it was an RBG tip. And then they never said, why are you pussy policing? It was just like, oh, okay, well, my body, my choice. So see, when somebody tell me something like that, it's like, okay, just write them off, fuck them. You know what I'm saying? We ain't got to rock with you, because we only need small pockets to continue to move forward and do what we need to do, like a small 300, doing what they need to do to move in the right direction, and whatever you feel is the right direction. But again,
that's a good point. That's a good point, because it's going to be on a small level. But I would ask you this, though.
Sure.
In business, and when you're talking about economics, they talk about the idea of scarcity, right?
Mm-hmm.
And the only problem I have with it is that for you, on a small scale, that's going to work. But because of the scarcity aspect of what a lot of black men are saying, we can't ignore that throughout this country, a lot of black men are saying the pool of eligible American black women that meet the standard of being attractive, having a feminine personality, and being cooperative and not being traitorous is small. We have to deal with that issue first, because see, RJ, so let's take that theory as true. Let's take the assumption that someone like an AM1, what he's saying is true, right? That let's take 100 black American women. So you got 100 black American men that are all considered competent and average looking or whatever, right? And they could get women across the board. Then you say, okay, here's your pool of American black women. And let's say that there's only 10 that meet that standard of being feminine, attractive, and cooperative. What do you want those guys to do? That's the problem I have. Because you think about it. If you say, well, I'm going to limit myself to the American black woman, those black women have matriarchal power over you, because you got 10 men to each one eligible woman by that standard. Because unless you're going to say to those black men, no, don't go get the best woman available that matches culturally, that matches you sexually, and that matches your personality. You are going to be with this woman because she is defined as a descendant of American slaves. No matter what she looks like, no matter what her track record is, no matter what her goals are.
Wait a minute, I ain't say that, G.
No. I know you just said it, but I'm saying if you take your theory and apply it to the group, that will be what you're looking at. Is you're looking at 10 black women having so much fucking sexual power, which is actually more closer to reality than you think, which is one of the reasons why American black women are acting the way that they are, because black men don't have, as a group, a punishment and reward mechanism on a large enough scale to keep the women in that ethnic group in line.
Not just the women. We don't have that for the coons. We don't have that for the other people that violate in society. I wish, that goes back to a code of conduct. I wish we had that in all areas.
And we got to get that first. See, that's what I'm saying. We have to focus on us that are having these conversations. We have to focus on getting the economic power and the skill development first. See, the other groups, the other generations didn't do it. They were focused on getting the rights, which we did need. First, we had to get recognized as being even human beings. One generation. Then the next generation said, now we got to become citizens. And now it's fallen on our generation, the millennials and the younger Gen Xers, to get the economic power. That's what the whole Robert F. Smith bailing those black men out was about. We have to focus on economic aspects now, getting financial power in all industries in America. We have to get power now. That's what we need, because we can, like you said, we cannot punish those that go against the black group in terms of doing things purposely to undermine the majority. That's not right. Even if you're an individual, you don't have to do things to undermine the majority just for a few trinkets or butter biscuits or whatnot. But
let me highlight that, Sigma.
Let me do it. Hold it. I just wanna say this, then I'll let everybody in the panel talk. I think Brother RJ is very interesting, right? And I'm gonna tell you why. Because we often hear about brothers who, you know, they go off to school, you know, and become these educated guys and become successful businessmen. And soon as they do that, soon as you guys get some money, soon as you guys get successful or you go to college, you go off and you get you a white woman. Brother RJ is the prime example of the opposite of that, because he has no interest in white women. And he's a college-educated brother, well-dressed. Brother could dress his ass off, boy. Well-dressed, college-educated, successful businessman. So for all you fucking people out there who say, brothers, they get successful and they go get white woman, it's a goddamn lie, because I got a brother on my show right now who's the exact opposite of that. So just shut up. I'm gonna go back to the OGJ Speed, then my brother BMT. And you want to say something, and one, before we go down the line again?
Yeah, no. Just in reference to what the two brothers was just saying, I think it becomes a matter of an oversimplification, because when you look at everything that we're dealing with and what we're up against, the idea of saying, well, sure, I like the idea of even what Jared Taylor says. I like the idea of black folks operating with black folks, but relative to some type of intelligence, some type of goals, some type of actual culture that we can all agree on that has relevancy and cultural standpoints that are going to move us all forward in a genuine way, not just culture for the sake of some nigga turn up shit. So since we don't have that, it's a drastic oversimplification just to say, I want people who look like me to move forward into the future. That's just clearly not what we have. So it's easy to say that, sure, but it ultimately falls into the realm of just being more or less subjective and just kind of a feel-good thing versus the reality that we're up against is nowhere near matching that.
Yeah, brother,
I'll leave it at that.
Plus, I don't think we're in real danger of, like cross-culturing and all that, unless you're having kids with these women. I mean, if you're dating them, you're just kind of hanging out with them and screwing them, that's different than, marrying them, having children. Aren't those two things different?
But see, brother X, we like it raw, and we gonna get them pregnant. You see what I'm saying? That's just what we gonna do.
Yeah.
But seriously, to brother M1, did I see your name right? M1?
Yeah,
it's just AM1.
Okay,
yeah, it's just
AM1. Yes, sir. So to brother AM1's point, that's why that's why I briefly touched up on culture. I don't want to miss this point. The culture is going to be okay. I'm assuming everybody on this panel some good bright black men. That's what it sounds like. So with that understanding, it's up to us to implement that culture. We know our culture screwed up. We just mentioned it here on this program. So again, if I gotta reach back to Clarence 13X and Mega Evers and Elijah, whoever I gotta pull it from, pull the good and implement that into my household, then so be it. In modern times, from the era I grew up in, I'm a millennial as well. I'm in my early 30s, and we don't have that. We don't have that benefit. We know it's gone. So that would be up to the individual. That's the thing. Since we don't have a code, since we don't have a collective code of conduct, it's been jacked up. It's gone. It's out of here. So I say bring it back. And if you're aware of, if you're well versed on, if you studied it, then we should be implementing those things to the house. Because what did our parents do? By and large, a lot of our parents may have introduced us to that good old book, and that's all they knew, and that's fine. No knock on them, right? But if it helped us remain upright and perpendicular, then so be it.
Yeah, I wanted to touch on some things too, if I can.
Go ahead, brother Art. Then I'm gonna swing around to J Speed and get brother BMT in here. Go ahead, brother Art.
Because I want to touch on the culture aspect. There's a such thing as called knowledge of self, and the thing is that once you gain knowledge of self, then you're constantly growing and expanding. And when you constantly grow and expand, you're going to always find an extension of yourself in different parts of the world. I mean, Jay Speed can definitely attest to this as the Muhammad Speaks, where you have two men over the world reaching hands, meaning, showing that, you have black men from different parts of the world uniting with the Japanese symbol above. So, when you have that, I would say that for those people that are trying to expand and go into other cultures, you got to maintain knowledge of self. You got to maintain your roots. You got to maintain the things that you were embedded in, because some people do lose themselves when they go to other places and try to reinvent themselves. But the key thing is that you got to hold on to a foundation of who you are and what you're made of. So that's what I would say to that, because people always, not always, but they try to put this premise that just because you're going other places and stuff like that, you're going to forget where you came from. It's not always the case.
Brother, the OG J Speed.
Yeah, I hope I can bring this around full circle, because throughout the night, I haven't heard one thing that I could disagree with. Now, that might sound strange when I first started off with it, but think about this, my young brothers and the people out there in the world who's listening to this show live. Let's look at it this way. Just say we at war right now. Some of us believe we are, and some of us believe we're not. We at war. And the war is light and dark. Okay? And say, when you're a general in an army, and you got to look out for your men, but you understand your mission. Your mission is to win. Let's represent the mission as to win as one thing: peace. Okay? So you got that. So then you jump into it as a general and you say, any strategy not used in warfare, it's a waste of time to even fight. Now, every brother spoke after me or before me. Malcolm X said it this way: by any means necessary. Now, if you brothers, all you brothers, Pan-African brothers or pro-black brothers, brothers who believe you can do anything you wanted to do, just take this in consideration. You at war, but you forgot about one thing. The oldest person on this planet is Lucy, is 1.5 million. Some would say 1.3 million. They say all human life came through her. So that would have to say that if we fucked our enemies into the existence, it could be a strategy to fuck them out of the existence. So when you look at it in that way, that's one part of your attack and your strategy. And then when you got the pro-black brothers saying keep the family intact and keep the culture intact, You can't disagree with that neither. Due to the fact, that's another strategy. You're keeping the black family strong, like me, who's going to tie his roots and his umbilical cord back to the motherland, who going to have himself an African black wife. Now, it might look like I don't have a dog in this fight, but I do. Due to the fact, when it's all said and done, as the teachers in the nation, the back will become the front and the front will become the back. We don't have our chance of being in the back for a long period of time. Some people say it started slavery. Some people say it started 6,000 years ago. Whatever happened, or whenever it happened, I think we are in the move, in the blueprint, and we're connected with a vibration that we sound different. Look at me. I'm 60 years old. I sound totally different than any of these eloquent brothers today, like Farrakhan, Malcolm X, and Martin Luther King together. They so eloquent in their speech. And that's good, because that shows you that we have changed. But me, I only been a genius in my brain. I'm gonna fuck up some vowels, consonants, and everything else. But the brain power and the third eye has never been second to none. And so we have to look at this thing for what it is, because in the end of the day, we all fighting to get to that same place. As I always say, some go travel by the 40, some go travel by the 20, but we're all trying to meet up in ATL. And we get there, that's when the celebration is. So now we just going through, I guess, the symptoms of what happened to us to figure all this shit out. So that's what I want the younger brothers, because I embrace what y'all doing. All of it. I embrace the manosphere and this spear and that spear, the pro-black, Pan-Africans, 5%ers, Nation of Islam, you know. Even if you got some of the old members of SNCC and around, I'm going to embrace all of it, because I look at it all as being a chess move. And when you playing chess and you are part of every piece on that board, you know white always move first, but that don't guarantee them a win. So in the end, I think we all want the same thing. We want to win and have peace. That's all I got to say about it.
Brother BMT. Is BMT still here? I see his icon down there. Brother BMT. All right, I guess we're going to swing back around to Brother Art and Style. I guess Brother BMT probably off doing something.
Yeah, and there's another phrase that I've learned from the nation: good homes, friendships, and all walks of life. That I really took that to heart when I first heard that. You know, create your heaven and lay it down on it at once. I mean, these particular things, I always took that universal approach. But at the same time, I stay grounded with my people while I'm universal. I mean, because the thing, but at the same time, when people like me say these things, it's not an anecdotal thing for like the whole population of adult people. It's for those who apply to. You know, I don't know. I really value all different aspects of our people from all different parts of the world. You know, there's a saying is that the more languages you know, the less secrets there are in the world. And they also say that the more language you know, there's more engines in your brain, because you approach different things. But that's just me. Okay, that's just me. So I'm pretty much like a Gordon Parks. You know, I like different things, different aspects of the world. But at the same time, it's not me conforming to their world, it's them conforming to mine. And I think that's the part where, you know, if you don't feel grounded enough to where you want to go different places, you got people that don't want to go to Mississippi when they're from New York. Some people don't want to go to Wisconsin when they're from California because they're afraid that they're going to have to change their ways. So either way it goes, if you're going to travel somewhere, you best believe you gotta, same message I've been saying. Stay grounded in who you are, but don't be afraid to learn new things if it comes across your way. Because sometimes I hear a little superstition on some of these panels. I kind of laugh, but
I think what often happens, and that's just based off of what I hear on YouTube. Forget about the shit I hear in real life, because some of this shit you hear in real life, and you be like, "What the hell is this person talking about?" I think we kind of overstate how many of us black men are, having babies with white women, Latino women, Asian women, and women from, other parts of the world. I think we kind of overstate it. Okay, because the stuff I hear now about brothers stepping out and being with other women, I mean, I didn't hear it as much when I was coming up as a young guy, but I did hear it. Just like I said about brother RJ a few minutes ago. The talking points were, once you brothers get out there and y'all make money and y'all get successful, y'all want to get a white girl on your arm. I used to hear that shit a lot, when I was younger. But I think it's overstated because there's still like 40 million of us. So, I mean, the brothers can't be sticking that many white women. They can't be sticking that many Latino women. They can't be sticking that many Asian women because, I mean, like I said, there's like, 43 million somewhere in there, somewhere between 40 and 45 million of us. So obviously, brothers haven't been reproducing and procreating with, this mass of numbers of other women. I think we kind of overstate it, man. I think we kind of use scare tactics and shit. Me, myself. I mean, I'm married to a black woman. My children are by, a black woman. So, I mean, I'm not part of the whole, genocide that everybody's saying, the brothers is committing, because we're being with white women and Latino women and all this kind of nonsense. So I think we kind of go off the ship sometime, man, and we kind of oversell it, and I don't think it's as big as a problem as people make it out to be. I mean, that's just what I think. I don't think it's that, because it's a very small percentage of black men. It's not like it's 90% of black men. It's not 90%. 85% of black men who get married, you know who they get married to? Black women.
Well, that number, the problem with that statistic, though, Prophet, that statistic can be very deceiving because the reason that statistic can be deceiving is because less people are getting married. So it's like if only one person is married and everyone else is single, you could say 100% of people, you could say 100% marriage rate, right? Because statistics, you got to look at the whole number and the percentage, and you look at them both. Because if you just look at the percentage, you say, well, 85% of black men are getting married. But if only 30% of black men are getting married, it's not giving you the whole story. And so I think that when this new data comes out in 2020, it's going to be very, very revealing because as we know, we found out in 2019 that 51% of adult black men are childless bachelors. So when that 2020 data comes out, oh my God, because we talk about the 85% number, but we don't talk about the fact that only less than 30% now of black men are even getting married. So 70% are not even getting married. So you're talking about a small percentage. And then you got to look at the fact that when the women talk about that, they're having a different conversation than you and I are. See, to a lot of these American black women, the other men that they don't see as being the most eligible men are invisible to them. You got to keep that in mind as well. So like there could be out of those 100 men, there could be 50% of those men to those American black women could be invisible. Like they're not even included because they're not attracted to them, which I'm not even mad at them about that because I'm the same way. A woman that I don't find, as I said before, cooperative, attractive, and feminine in her nature is not visible to me either. So we have to add in those factors as well about the fact that when women have these conversations, they don't even consider the dudes they don't want to fuck or have a baby by, because the ultimate thing with women is that when they find you very sexually attractive, and this has been backed by science in a recent study that showed that women don't even want to use condoms with men that they want to replicate their DNA with. See what I'm saying? So women look at it from a very primal, mammalian, reptilian brain level of the men that I want to fuck and replicate are the only men that count until I realize that those dudes are off the market to me. And women hold on to that ideal for a long time. It's gotten later and later with each generation. So maybe in Prophet's generation, women would hold off until about 26, and then they're going to cash in whatever the best man they can get. Now, women are holding off until 40. They're going to use all of their 20s and all their 30s to try to catch that guy that meets their DNA replication standard. You know what I'm saying? So we got to keep that in mind as well when we have these conversations, because a lot of these women, they don't want those dudes, and a lot of these dudes don't want the lower tier women. Everyone, that's the thing about an economy and a structure like American and in the West, we have that freedom of movement. We have that ability to go after what we want, and we have to deal with the consequences if we don't get it. And we have to recognize that reality, I think.
So why do you brothers think that so much hay is made when brothers get, a white woman or some other kind? Well, I think it's more so white women than anything else, but that's just me. But why do you think people make such a hay over it, as opposed to, when a black woman decides to be, with a white man, there's very little kerfuffle. Because, let's face it, we as black men, we don't give a shit what black women do. We really don't care.
Because we're slaves.
We don't care if you go off with some white man and you go off with some Latino man. We don't give a shit, But it seems like on the other side of it, it's totally different.
We're slaves, Prophet. See, you got to understand. Black men have been the lowest of lowest as far as this system. We were brought into a system controlled by white men and Jewish men. And we were always the property, the income producing asset, and the biggest threat to their power and to their profits. Even during slavery, American black women were made into slave owners. You guys should do your research on that and find out how back in like 1830s, the biggest slave owners were actually American black women who were the permanent concubines of white men. And what would often happen back in those days, a white woman, she might die, and the white man would be left with all this property and all these slaves. And then he would take a black concubine or a Native American concubine, or if he was in the West, a Mexican concubine, and that woman would stay with him upon his death. And then she would often inherit his property and his slaves, and even become the manager of the white foremans, and the property became hers. So you have to understand that all throughout history, everyone has always been put above the black man. We never had the agency. The system required that they control our sexual activities, our political activities, and our economic ceiling. They had to control that. And for the first time, black men are saying, fuck all of this social control, fuck all this shaming language, forget the dominant society. We're going to get out here and take what's ours, because no one's ever in the history of the world given anything to a black man. So these women, being programmed over generations and generation of seeing us as inferior to them, as property to the system and below them, have always put us at the bottom. And it's just not that black men are speaking out against it and then reacting to it as well now, because we have the freedom of movement. That's what I think.
And I agree with you. I agree with you, King Sigma, 100% on that, G, straight up.
Most
And
certainly.
pardon me, go ahead.
I say I agree with that too. I remember when it started happening, and probably some of y'all probably remember when it started happening too. It started happening really in the streets when X, when we was coming up, it was the Temptations, and they were singing about love and Teddy and Al Green, how much we love and all that kind of stuff. And that new generation came from them mothers raising them sons who loved them but didn't like them. I'm not talking about all the rappers, but when the rappers started really going into the women, and we started hearing things in music that we had never heard before on a consistent basis. And so them brothers was the first. We had to give it to them because if you want to talk about manosphere, you want to talk about all that kind of stuff, if you want to, you go back and listen to some of them rap records. What them brothers was shooting out there, they was out there in front because they had been raised by these black women who they loved their mothers, but they didn't like them because when you got a bunch of group of black women sitting around talking about your daddy was stupid and you go be just like your daddy and this and that, you know, black men ain't nothing but dogs. That's the first time I ever heard a black man ever call a dog was from a black woman on a talk show. And so what I'm just saying is when you really look at these are the symptoms of what we are, the effect that we're going through now, due to the fact that brother said it straight out. We have always been at the lower totem pole in this country. You know what I mean? I remember when I was coming up, they say, well, the only thing was free in this country was a black woman and a white man. So that's the things was said when I was small. So what I'm getting at is if that's been the case, let's go back in history. Let's go back a little further where they would use black women to whip black men for punishment. See, these are the breaking things they use to break black men and make women superior, make them think they were superior over black men. And so, and then we seen this rush of these talk shows. And when these talk shows started, you know, just like I always say, what number Donahue and Mike Douglas when I was coming up. And then they gave all these women 5 or 6 talk shows. And then you had to support soap operas. And these things are training mechanisms that train out, keep that consistency of the black woman trying to be over the black man. You know what I mean? And so opportunities when the civil rights and all these things was going in the 60s, and then you had where you had to have a certain percent of black people working in corporations that were funded by the government or the military or anything else. You had brothers replaced from bus drivers and they put women as bus drivers. Now, if you look at it, there's more women driving buses than men. But see, these are mechanisms. These are strategies of our opponents. And so when the brother said, we might say it different, but we still saying the same thing. So when you live in a system, when you're a man and you can't feel like you can be head of your household unless you have to go to war before you go out your door, and knowing you got to go in another war when you go out your door. So the white man already understood that he couldn't defeat us. He learned that about going over in Haiti, where he lost 50,000 soldiers. But he did come up with a strategy. He said, if I put the black woman in front of the black man, I could cause all kinds of bullshit in their home, and I don't have to even be there. And that's what we're suffering with today. Because I remember back in 1970, my wife wasn't even, my first wife was black. She wasn't even working. Wasn't working nowhere. She was going to school. And they wanted her to sign when we bought our first house, because they had these strategies like, man, if you don't pay for the house, I know I can make her make you pay for the house. See, these are tactics they use. And that's why I say every tactic we use, any means necessary. If we have to fuck them out of existence, we have to get the black family strong. Some of us got to be on front line. Some of us going to be behind line, but all positions are open for discussion.
No doubt, no doubt. Brother Prophet, I got a question for you.
Go ahead, bro. Go ahead.
Or for you, and if anyone else want to chime in, they can, but it's you in particular since you're the host. The more I come on these panels, and I'm quiet oftentimes, not only because I'm new, but because I'm soaking up information. So I love hearing from older brothers in particular. Now, even with me, being educated and all those things, I thank you for what you said. I appreciate it. Needless to say, from the 8s to the 9s to the 10s. Yeah, true enough. I bag some of them, but I still catch plenty of hell from them. So I'm saying that to say this right here. I'm starting to believe that our sisters don't know what in the hell they want, and that it's just a smoke screen. And so I want to just ask you, like I know you're not a therapist, but what do you think this? I know the mentality is attributed back to slavery, but like Brother Sigma was getting to, when you research it, then it becomes more sick and twisted. What do you think this mentality comes from? Do you think it just may have affected them more from a different way than it did us? Or I know it's paid forward and passed down, but this psychology is deep. It's pretty unique, and I'm trying to get more of an understanding from it, brother. You.
Well, I kind of slip away. That's kind of where I kind of veer off. When people talk about how women are or how we are as a people, for that matter, because it's because of slavery, inherited trauma, white supremacy, and all this kind of nonsense. I mean, does that shit exist? Did slavery exist? Does white supremacy exist? Does the white power structure exist? Of course it does.
Right.
But it is not the cause of every fucking thing. It's just not. It's not. Now, people will have you believe that if you break if I walk out of my house right now and break my toe, white supremacy did it. See, I don't subscribe to that shit. What I believe is this.
Talk to me.
I believe that we are not just one, not just two, maybe three, or maybe more, multiple generations. We are removed from completeness. And I'll tell you what I mean when I say completeness. I think that so many of us, and this may be my natural bias because everybody knows OX on the TPOT YouTube page is very biased against these old mamas. Everybody knows that. And I think that we are multiple generation of people where most of us have been raised by our mothers, right? So you have this, especially those of us who were raised by our mother and mother only, where we had no uncle, no grandfather, no male cousin, brothers on the block who dropped male wisdom on you. Brothers like that, I think a lot of us suffered, right? But also these women who were raised in the house with their mothers only also suffered. Why? Because they missed the completeness and the balance as well. So what did they do? They grew up in a household where they didn't have the protection of a man from their old mama, right? So as the girl grows, as she fills out, what does she become? She becomes competition to mama, especially if mama is young and mama's a baby mama, and mama got dudes traipsing in and out the house. All right. Especially when the daughter 15, 16, and she built better than mama. She younger than mama. She prettier than mama. Right. Why do you think that these old mamas, they will throw the daughter out if she's 15, 16, 17, but she'll let the good for nothing ass loser son live in the house till they're 45? Because there is competition there. Now, will they ever cop to it? Of course not. They will never say, oh, yeah, I'm kind of jealous of my daughter. Because, see, one thing women don't like more than anything else is to be judged, okay? They do not like being judged. So they pass that on to their daughters as well. So when these young women go out and get out from under their mother, a lot of them end up just like mama. They don't want to be judged, okay? They think they are, I don't know, the greatest thing since sliced bread, especially when they're young. That's why a lot of black women don't get married young. Why? Because they feel like they still have time. I'm still beautiful. I'm still young. I still got a nice ass. I still got nice titties. Nah, I may have 4 kids, but I got all this, right? That's why they don't seek out husbands until they 35, 40 years old. all washed the hell up, right? Now they talking about a husband. These hoes don't talk about no husband when they 20, 25. Why would they? They still look good and all that shit. They still feel like they have the right to pick and choose men. I don't want this guy who's going to college and trying to become a professor. No, I want the damn dope boy with the 30-inch rims on his damn 85 Impala, okay, with $10,000 worth of damn stereo equipment in a $200 car. You know, it's that whole thing. That is why a lot of black women act the way they act, because a lot of them didn't have fathers either. Let me tell you something. If a woman doesn't have a father, right, and she never had no males in her life whatsoever, how on earth is she going to be able to properly deal with men? When she starts to learn about men, it's usually right around the time that they sticking a dick in her. That's the wrong time to learn about men, okay? Women who grew up with a father from the time they were little to the time they start dating, by the time they start dating, they have an understanding of a father. They understand how to deal with a man. They have a little bit of understanding of what a man's authority is. They understand that this is a man. I have to follow his orders. I have to listen to what he says. I have to follow his rules. See, they grow up in that system. So when they get to be adults, you know what they do? Most of them make better choices in men. Most of them make better choices with who they reproduce with. Most of them are less promiscuous. Most of them are less likely to be drug addicts and shit. Most of them are less likely to be swinging on somebody's stripper pole. I mean, a man being in a household makes a lot of difference. I know people have heard this many, many times before. A man being in the house makes a difference, not just with sons, with daughters, but we have multiple generations of women, okay, who grew up without this. And the difference between black women and other women, percentage wise, other women are more likely to grow up with who? A father in their life. So, of course, they think about men differently. Of course, they act towards men differently. Why? Because if you take some chick, right, who was raised with no father, just old jackass mama, right? And now she's 20 years old. And you get another chick, she could be black, white, blue, green, or orange. You get another chick who was raised by her father. Those women are going to have two different outlooks about men, man. It's just a fact. That's a fact. There's no disputing that. So this is why certain women act a certain way towards certain kind of men. Why? Because they've been taught to see different kind of qualities in men. You see the greater qualities in men when you have a father in your life. I mean, when you don't have a father in your life, a lot of these women, man, they look for superficial qualities. That's why they make bad decisions and they make bad choices. I don't know if that cleared it up for you, young fella, but that's just X's explanation.
Could I add something in there?
Please.
Feel free, Brother Sigma.
Yeah, because I had made the comment about the role and the position that society sees black men in general, and I kind of wanted to bring this home because I had made a comment in the chat about do you understand how many brothers have no clue that the biggest slave owning class amongst black people during the slave time was black women? Do you understand how many brothers don't even know this shit, man? Let me bring this home for you, okay? So I mentioned the woman that all you guys should go look up tonight if you can, or tomorrow. Her name is Cyprienne Rickard, okay? The Civil War started, I believe, in 1861 in South Carolina. In 1860, in South Carolina and Louisiana, the biggest slaveholders in both states were actually American black women. Let me say this again. American black women were the biggest slave owners at the start of the Civil War, and in both cases, as plantation owners, they actually supported the Confederate cause with money, with supplies, and sending people to fight in the war on the Confederate side. Now, let me bring this shit home because what I'm saying to you may not hit you as hard until I give you the numbers. Okay, let's take Cyprienne Rickard. She was down there in Louisiana. I told you how she got her money, right? She had 152 slaves, mostly black men, because that's just how they had the ratios back then, was that they wanted the depending on the crop that was being produced on which specific plantation, it required stronger and healthier men. And so there was always usually a ratio of more men to women in the southern states because of the nature of the work. So she had a sugarcane plantation, which is one of the most dangerous kind of crops back at that time, and was one of the most valuable crops because sugar was so rare and scarce and had such a value in Europe because of tea and different delicacies that they became accustomed to. Her wealth in the year 1860s, just now, this is not her income. This is just strictly from her assets. Her 152 slaves at that time in 1860 was $500 per slave on average. Now, remember, that's just an average. The more elite slaves could be worth up to $1,500. The poorer slaves that were weaker, maybe $300. So we're just going to go with the average, $500. Now, you got to convert that shit from $1860, the year before the Civil War, to today's dollars. That would be worth $15,000, about $500 per slave. To give you an idea, the kind of power that these American black women slave owners had. Her wealth in the year 1860, just strictly off her assets, would have been about $2.35 million. Now, I want you guys to put your thinking cap on here, be creative thinkers, and think about that. When you see the black women that had that kind of money, not very many American black women have that kind of wealth. 2.3 minimum. Now, we're not even talking about how much income each slave produced in terms of their sugarcane, their annual production, right? We're just talking about the value of the slave assets themselves was what we would convert to today's dollars, $15,000 per slave. They may have produced $100,000 in today's dollars each year in sugarcane. So these are bitches that are like on some Oprah shit back then, right? So I need you guys to understand that because of the way that these black women are put in these positions by white men, because of their particular sexual proclivities or whatnot, and the position they were in as concubines, they always saw themselves as better than us. And the society itself was never threatened by black women. We were always the threat. So now when we fast forward over the generations since the end of the Civil War, we find ourselves in this position because so much of this information was kept away from us. So much of the social and political power was denied us as well. And a lot of it was on our own because what we did, a lot of black men wasted their political capital on the black female who gave her support to white feminists, the homosexual community, and white men. Now, black men are waking up now because they see that these women had a whole fucking different agenda than the black man did. The black man's agenda was the black family. That's why he was so willing to share his political capital, his economic access with those black women. But here we are in 2019, and these same black women are putting illegal immigrants above the black male. Black men suffer more from illegal immigration in America than any other group in America. And black men are the biggest supporters of these kind of policies. So I think you got to keep that big picture of the position that these women have seen us in. You got women that'll be like, oh, I'm for black men. But that's only because many of these women don't have the option to be swooped up by these other men. And as soon as they get it, think about it. The bottom 1/4, the bottom shelf white Brad can take the best looking American black women from the black man. A lot of brothers don't want to admit this shit, but if you really sit back and people these bitches be saying on YouTube and the bits that they're out there writing and the shit that they're willing to go on TV and say, you could be a bottom shelf, poor ass white boy, and you got a good shot of getting the top 10 to 20% of black women. That's what the brothers gotta really think about, man. The fact that these white boys have been so put above you by the women that I don't say our women. I never use that terminology. What I say is our female counterpart, because that's really what it is. They have been made our female counterpart, but they have received their programming from the dominant society. So these women, lots of them feign as if they care about you, but the minute a bottom shelf Brad comes along, he can take what will require you to be a top 20% black man to get that same black woman. This is shit that you should feel insulted by. And that's why
I do. That's why I'm asking the question.
I will not bend the knee to the black female matriarchal system because I know that many of these women are traitorous in their hearts.
Yeah, well, some of us, man, just love white folks. My brother BMT is, but yeah, some of us, man, we just love ourselves some white people. We just can't get enough of them. I mean,
Yeah.
that's what it is with some of us, man.
That's what it is.
That's what it is. My
And
brother BMT is back. I don't know where the hell he went, but
Man,
what's up?
I just got this new desk set up, man. I got this my old lady, she bought me a studio center. So that kind of like shut down everything, and so now that I'm sitting at this new setup, I'm getting used to it now. So it's pretty interesting. I do apologize about that, Prophet, but go ahead, man. I was just listening. I didn't even know. I ain't never heard of a black female slave owner in South Carolina. I live in South Carolina, so I'm like, oh, where the hell this woman was at?
Yeah, because ain't
Shit.
you Geechee and Gullah, right?
I don't know where the hell this woman been at. Shit, I'm sitting here like, what plantation? I drive by a plantation every goddamn day. I take my kids to school, so shit, man, I don't know. I need to go take a look at it again. But go ahead, bro. Let's cook, man. I'm here. I'm very much listening. What was the question? I heard they going to next.
Well, the brother RJ was asking, because brother RJ, I'm pretty sure you're familiar with him. Everybody here probably is. He's an educated brother, businessman. You listen to him talk, obviously very articulate, smart brother. And he'll probably, a brother like him, I mean, and I'm just speaking in generalities now. A brother like him, maybe not necessarily him, but a brother like him, and this has been the argument here for quite some time, that sisters aren't really feeling the brothers with their education and the articulate way of speaking, and they speak the king's English, very smart, very professorial and dressed well and all that kind of stuff. They look at them as the more corny, nerdy type of brother. They look at them more like Sherman Klump, not Buddy Love. So he was kind of, asking why. Now, on the other side of that, other women kind of just ain't like that. I mean, let's be honest. All right. I mean, with other women, you're less likely to feel that kind of heat because you're the quote unquote Sherman Klump type as opposed to the Buddy Love type.
I'd like to speak on that.
Oh, go ahead, brother Art. Pull the trigger.
Goddamn, are you?
Yeah, I do have in PhD leanings too, called Omega Psi Phi Fraternity Incorporated, founded in 1911. So I do have that kind of background as well, and we deal with the deltas, aka zetas. Shout out to Sigma Gamma Rhos, all of them. And I don't know. I mean, I can't speak for the brother, but a lot of brothers in Pan Hell, we did have access to a lot of educated women, or up and coming, and we have fun, man. We have fun, and the thing is, the stuff that I've been hearing about women not checking for educated brothers, I haven't seen it like that in my walks of life, and I've been all over the state.
Do we overstate that, brother Art? Do we
I think some people do at times, man. Because you gotta consider what women don't want educated men. That's the thing is that. I mean, don't get me wrong.
According to YouTube, black
women
don't.
No, but see, that's the thing about it, and I agree with Art. Like, stop listening to these new generational social shit, because it depends on where you're swimming at. If it ain't in this pool, go take your ass to another pool. I agree with Art. Like, go somewhere else.
Let me jump back. Let me jump back in here, fellas, because that's not where I wanted to go. Let me make the disclaimer. I know you just came back, brother BMT. Shout out to you. I'm not saying that I have a huge issue getting women. Okay, I had made the opening comment where I was saying, hey, I've been there. I know how it is. What I'm saying is, it's not unusual for me, despite what this brother just outlined, for me to meet some resistance and catch some sister that give me some hell. So now to brother Art's point, Yeah, you know, I'm definitely familiar with Omega Sci-Fi, man. Y'all mean on that grill, y'all some good brothers. But my whole thing is this right here. Even with that, in those circles, yeah, you'll come across plenty of educated sisters that are educated through a college system, but that doesn't translate into them being good mates for the black man. And so that's why I brought that up. And I apologize for not being that concise when I asked the question initially.
All right, so that changes all things. Okay, so when it comes to that, for you as a black man, and I'm hoping that a young brother who's ever going to listen to this gets to hear me as a father, a brother, an associate. Because the problem that I'm seeing is, and I hear it on a lot of these audio tapes and stuff from other men, every black woman ain't here to fit your goddamn design as a black man. Every woman ain't for you. Just because you're a smart man, just because you're a wise man, just because you're a well-educated brother, doesn't mean that woman is made for you. You understand? You're going to have to go through some trials, and you're going to have to make this woman. She's going to have to earn you. Every woman doesn't deserve access to you, black man. That's the problem with y'all. You let too many women have access to y'all, and when they try you out, every time that car leaves outside of the goddamn car dealership, it loses value because you keep on letting everybody drive you. And you see, that's the problem I worry about a lot of brothers, because you're comparing your equivalency to what this black woman is doing. See, she's in primitive hunting mode. See, the black women I know when I was coming up, they were hunters. Even though that's weird for it to be, but they said we're gonna have to hunt for whatever man we can pull out these goddamn streets and put them in his home. But see, you black men, you're looking for that predatory type of hunting type of female. You don't need that type of bitch in your house. No, you don't. You need somebody who's willing to be a gatherer under you. You need to be doing the hunting. She needs to be doing the gathering. She needs to be doing the maintaining. What you bring in, she's supposed to maintain for you. But see, what that would mean is that you're going to have to change up your strategy. You see, first of all, the black woman that you're dealing with right now that we're talking about, well, because of X, Y, and Z, and I agree with Prophet on how he said that, listen, man, when they're using this, well, it's because of slavery, bitch, you wasn't in no goddamn slavery. Don't be bringing that shit up like you was out there. See, this is why I be wondering, like, I be wondering, y'all need to stop letting them watch these PBS Roots goddamn movies and shit. I blame Art having them watching them goddamn movies of Roots and shit. Like, they reenact like they not.
I couldn't
I'll
help
be having them watching them old freaking Roots
they watching
reruns
the
and shit.
movies like they out there being forced to do shit, man. Like, they're doing this shit by choice.
You had a chip on your shoulder after that, did you?
Shit, boy, that movie had me fucked up myself. Like I said, oh my god, man, I can't take no more Art's credit when he be sending me watching these movies. But I gotta watch it. He got me good. But the thing about it right now is that you're dealing with a woman who is, listen, I am not going to give you the power. And I've seen a lot of black homes, mama's house, just mama's house. Whenever you see that the woman has more volume of say so in that house, you already know you got an uphill battle, because that girl is watching how her mother operated, and she's like, I want that same pace of power, where a mama can choose who and when she wants that type of man in her bed. And you see right then and there, you already know you got to fight. And you see that's the problem, because some of y'all be trying to domesticate that type of woman, and you see that ain't that type of woman that you need. And I watch you brothers. I see y'all at baby showers. I see y'all niggas at church. I see y'all niggas out there at the school things, and she got you holding a purse and walk around with your head down and shit.
No.
Y'all, she understood that she tamed you. She tamed you. And you see, that's the thing about it is, first of all, I ain't never seen no damn poor trailer trash white boy walk up amongst black men who are out there doing their shit and grab the baddest black bitch. I ain't never seen that shit a day in my life. The world.
I normally see the leftovers go over there, but to King Sigma's point, and I'm in the South. Okay, so maybe it's a geographical thing. I have seen a few decent sisters out with some old bottom of the barrel devil, and then while they're out with them, they won't make like brother OGJ was saying earlier, they won't make eye contact with you. They nose in the air. They feel like they doing something. And I just want to just let you know, like the game you spitting, it wasn't for me until I started coming on these panels.
Mhm.
Like all this stuff I kept hearing, and I don't hear from on this channel, obviously. Brother X, he's a unique brother. But on these other panels, I hear these cats always talking about BFF, right? And I'm gonna tell you something, man. Maybe I was just in my own world, but I wasn't noticing the so-called BFF. And then when I listen to these brothers, I like to, I want to hear their reason. And I'm like, well, damn, there is a lot of that going on. And so whenever I engage in these conversations, I just like to hear brothers' point of view on where they think that BFF came from. Because again, initially I didn't think of such a thing. I thought it was just, basic old dysfunction. Let's keep it simple. But now I'm seeing scholarly articles and all these things about it. And I'm not trying to, sway the topic either, brother X.
No. You're fine. And see, that's the thing about it is there are black women out here who are still effeminate. Now, that's a jewel. There are women out here that are still effeminate. They can be found. But see, the thing about it is you need to be on code where you need to be. You feel me? You need to be where you need to be. Make that woman see that black woman that you might see when you're at work. She checked for you, but she's like, hold up, there's a black man. What? He's in the medical field and I'm in the medical field, so y'all gonna be checking for each other. She's a nurse. You going through you doing your doggone clinical rounds and shit. See, naturally, y'all two on code. You feel me? But I be finding the brothers who are where they need to be in life. They going back to Egypt where they got the fuck away from, and they trying to pull that bitch out. And she ain't trying to leave out the plantation.
I feel you.
And see, that's the thing where you being disloyal to yourself, my brothers, because you trying to go take off the plantation. She's like, why the hell would I want to leave the plantation? I got the food. I got the warm bed with the white man. The fuck I need to come out here with you, nigga. I'm not trying to work with you. But see, y'all be trying to re-salvage and try to fix that type of matriarchal mindset. Understand this. There's a reason why the Angie Mamas, don't you know the Angie Mamas? Like, there's a reason why they didn't leave. Look, watch Gone with the Wind. How loyal she was to that type of man. And you see, you couldn't get that goddamn black woman to betray that white man. And you see, y'all keep on trying to compare your struggle as that of a black man to that of that type of man. That ain't see that right there, you're hurting yourself. We already understand the struggle you got going on, brother. But see, you need to find a woman who pertains and understands your struggle, not that white man's struggle. Y'all can keep on trying and see. That's the thing about it. I be seeing y'all brothers, y'all be taking the bottom of the barrel on white bitches that be working at RB smelling like bacon grease and shit. And y'all be up down. That's the fucking best. I'm
gonna go to brother AM1, but we're gonna talk about that shit. Because I ain't heard from. I knew you was gonna start some bullshit up in here, but I'm gonna go to brother AM1. And we're gonna talk about that shit too. Go ahead, brother AM1.
Yeah, no, I've just been kicking back and listening to our brothers as I'm finishing up some work and just getting into this real interesting thing. Sigma was bringing up the historical elements to this. We had the OG chiming in with some different kind of angles as well. And this stuff is extremely interesting to me, especially since O'Shea dropped a video, and it's been kind of a hot topic in the manosphere since Ramil kind of came back in the fold. And he was saying some of the similar things I was saying as far as more drastic things Black folks should be doing to get it together. So we talk about these things over and over and over, but relative to the idea of the fuckery that we're dealing with from men and women and what we're up against versus, hella random ass babies and whatnot. But specifically this BFF topic and relative to brothers dating out and this whole thing, it's real interesting to hear all of these things. It's like, if we really look at it, if we put it like on a whiteboard and really drew it all out, made like a diagram of it, there's so many elements that are working against us, and specifically men. And really putting this stuff all together, it's interesting to me relative to the idea that I'm 40 years old, I'm single, not married, don't have any children, and I work for myself. And just the level of sort of like freedom, like that context of, the time I have to really make myself better or make myself an asset for myself, a resource for myself and for the community relative to how much time and focus people spend worrying about women, what women want, what women are doing. And I get all that. I guess for me, getting some pussy just ain't that big of a deal because I've just done it so many times. And I know I could, if I really want to hop on a phone and call up some pussy right now, it's just going to happen. It ain't that big of a deal. I'm really trying to build like an empire of sorts. And it's interesting to talk to brothers on here about it. And let me just give this shout out as well. A lot of brothers get real effeminate when brothers start talking about things like, hey, stop worrying about what these women are talking about. Really just sharpen up and straighten up and be your own man. Yes, there's BFF. There's from way back in the day all the way up to this very second. We have brother X right here who is married, who has children and is older than myself. And he'll chime in and keep it super duper real. And there's a lot of brothers in the manosphere that are married, have children, who don't want to keep it real, who want to fall back on their hopes and dreams and see everything through their lens and try to cast that lens on everybody else as if that is applicable. You see what I'm saying? Like I have this theory. Once we hit the internet age, all bets were just officially off with the idea that, well, I want to have a relationship similar to how I was raised and what I saw from my parents. I'm like, motherfucker, we are in a whole different paradigm. Times have changed. We need to really get on with it because we can't keep trying the same shit and expecting different results. There is all types of all manner of fuckery dealing with these women. Brothers, sort that out. What you're going to have to do, regardless of dealing with the fuckery or not, you're going to have to be the best man you can be because they want to come up with every reason to call you a raggedy nigga. A lot of these women do want to run you and put they boot on your neck. Some of them, you know, the whole discussion of if they're going to submit or not versus y'all raggedy niggas and what are we submitting to? I mean, you guys know what I'm talking about. We've heard these things literally countless times. Now, is it relative to YouTubers want to talk about this over and over to get views, keep this going, or do we actually want to use this form of media to really talk and build on some things that we can actually take off of YouTube when we get off these hangouts and implement in our day-to-day lives? Like I'm here for that. You know what I mean? We could talk about fuckery. We could talk about a lot of this circular stuff over and over. I guess it's good for views. I'm not that interested in that. I want to see the real changes is what I'm trying to say. So I want to salute Brother X on that because he keeps it real, super duper real. I've been on panels where I've said a lot of things and people get upset. And Brother X would come in and say the exact same thing I said. I'm like, so just because I'm unmarried and I don't have children, you're going to try to get on my head about something. But then Brother X comes through and said the exact same shit. But he's older than me and he's married with children and keeping it just as real. I'm like, y'all weak with it. So it's just real interesting. I know that's kind of off the topic, but it kind of ties all this stuff together. Worrying about the women so much. And I'm telling brothers, be the best you can be. Go ahead.
Yeah, I mean,
I got you back, and
truth is truth. I mean, it doesn't matter who's goddamn saying it. You know, the truth is the damn truth. Now we like to be like, oh, well, this is my truth. You know, it's sort of like, you know, it's the truth that I wish to believe and I hope you believe too. I mean, truth is truth. There is no my truth, their truth. I mean, truth is the goddamn truth. That's it. Okay, there is no special. There's no asterisk next to truth. I mean, truth is.
Let me shout that out too. I got to shout out my brother BMT as well because he's married and he has children and he's come through and saw a lot of what I was talking about and came up on this thing and dropped one of the hottest videos I've ever seen on YouTube. Period. And kept it real honest. Like, what is the problem with men keeping it honest? Talking about being intellectual, talking about being real men. But then when you start getting on some touchy subject shit that might require brothers to actually get real and have some real accountability and take some shit to the next level versus, oh no, just go find the black woman is out there for you. Just easy shit. Like saying random shit like that. But then you say, hey, wait a minute. It's easy for you to say here on YouTube on a panel, but the actual way you can go apply that in real life ain't that simple. A lot of oversimplification. And I'm like, stop it. Let's give real solutions here. Go ahead, Joe.
Knock it off. That's what I'd be like. Knock it off. But I want to get back to this shit that BMT said because there's definitely some truth to this shit. What bothers me, because I'm not a person, I don't care, you know, what type of woman you date, you know, who you stick your penis in. I don't really care about that. But my problem is this. when brothers step out and they say, you know, I'm not messing with black women no more. I'm gonna get me a white woman. I'm gonna get me a Hispanic woman. And they get out there and they find the fattest, the ugliest, the ones with the worst skin. They find these heaps of women and walk down the street and hold hands with this hoe like, I don't know, like she's Queen Aphrodite or somebody. So when you see that kind of shit, you're like, damn, if you were gonna go and get this fat, nasty, trailer trash looking white woman, you might as well had stayed, you know, you might as well had stayed with the sisters, because I'm pretty sure you could have found somebody that looked better than this old 350-pound, greasy, bad hair, bad skin, Caucasian mess, couldn't you have? I mean, that kind of shit to me is just crazy.
But usually those are the kind of brothers that date fat. Okay, I'll give an example. Because I've seen it as well. But what I've noticed is that the black dudes that date a woman like that, they date the same thing in black women. How do I know?
That's exactly what I was going to say.
This is really going to throw y'all off. Okay, well, a couple months back, I was at the hospital getting a physical, and I ran into this black nurse. And she was like 300 pounds, and come to find out she was pregnant, but she was 300 pounds before she was pregnant. And she was just giving me the rundown. I'm looking at it, I'm like, this female is 300 pounds and 5'3". And she's telling me this story. You know how a lot of black women like to talk. And she's telling me the story about how she got pregnant, and she's complaining because the dude is a convicted felon, and he got a couple other baby mamas, and she's all, you know how women just be talking sometimes? And she's like, I know I shouldn't have did it. I'm embarrassed by it and all that, but I don't believe in abortion. She's a nurse. She's telling me about the AIDS amongst black women, all this shit she's telling me. But she was with a dude, and she showed me a picture of her and her dude. He was a normal looking brother, just normal, regular guy. But she was 300 pounds and like 5'3". So the idea that these black men are with these fat white women is a false analogy, because these are the same dudes that are with fat black women, fat Latinos, fat biracial. We got to go by the standard of the black men that are off at these colleges. I attended a Big Ten university, and believe me, the brothers that were dating these other races, and that shit is so overblown. Most black men are actually, here's what people don't talk about. What about the fact that most black men are actually dating black Brazilian women, African women, biracial women before they even get to the white women? This whole idea that black men are tracking down white women is fucking crazy. Because I know me personally, in college, I fucked some white women or whatnot, but I always found myself fucking with like black African women or mixed women, Asian Blasian women. I always prefer black and brown skin. And I know a lot of brothers that are like, when you look at the NBA draft today, when you look at the NFL draft, most of those dudes were like ambiguous looking women. More so, they were with some white women on there. I don't think I saw any black girlfriends or wives, but a lot of the brothers be going for the exotic looking bitches that are non-white or non-black. They be going for like Latinas and mixed looking chicks more so than the white women. This whole idea that brothers that got it is fucking with it, that shit is crazy. Brothers, okay, look at Robert F. Smith, the billionaire. He's like 55, 60 or something like that, and he married a Playboy model who's like half his age. That's typically what I see in my reality. Brothers go after the same quality of woman that they would if she was black. So if he might have fucked a black dime, a Latina dime, a mixed dime, he just want to fuck a dime. So this whole idea that black dudes are fucking fat white women more states the fact that those dudes are visible because there's a lot of broke ass black men out there. There are a lot of black ass broke men out here. Let's be honest. I see black dudes that are broke as hell, and they're with fat white women, fat black women, broke just like them. So you got to look at the class thing as well.
Got you. It just seems. It seems funny to me when I see it, because I be out and about. Okay, because I run a business. I have a mobile service, so I'm all over the city. I'm in other parts of the county. I even got some contracts out in South Carolina, so I'm all over the place. In my travels, and I see this shit, you know, and I see a brother, you know, he may weigh 160 pounds, man. A brother, he 160 pounds, he stand 6 feet tall, and he walking down the street, man, with this damn white girl, boy, who gotta be weighing in at like 260, 270. And I'm like, man,
he can't fit in between them thighs, man.
Is that the best
Well, you
could have done, brother?
But is he like speak to this one?
you're seeing
Is he getting yelled at as he walking down the street
with some white girl?
I'm just saying, is he getting yelled at? Because
well, believe it or not, when I see a lot of these brothers, because I know brothers, okay, I know a few brothers who, you know, they have like, you know, these white women, you know, these fat ass white women that they fucking with, and those fat white women aren't the most docile and quote unquote feminine as you would think. A lot of them are stark mad crazy, to be honest. And it's like, wow, not only is she fat, white, and ugly, she's nuts.
But what does that tell you about
Wait, let me holler at that, y'all. I got the answer right now. Hold on. Let me holler at this. This is shit is hilarious because I've seen it my whole life. It's in Sigma, or somebody, I think it was Sigma, touched on it. A lot of niggas are broke. A lot of niggas are lame and don't have game. If you pull up on a white bitch that's raggedy, halfway decent, she might even be ugly, she might be fat. If you a broke ass raggedy dusty nigga with no game, and you pull up on some cellulite ass, mayo ass, fat white pussy, and she's working that dick out, leaving your nuts empty, feeding you, letting you lay up in the house and play video games, you know what I mean? If she got your back, that's what a lot of niggas fall into. That's what's going on here. Well, let's just keep it a buck. In a lot of cases, niggas want. It's real simple in most cases for a lot of men. If a woman just shut the fuck up and keep your nuts empty, you pretty much is gonna rock out and just be cool. Now that's across how she looks. That's across money. That's across all that. But for a lot of dusty, raggedy niggas, if they getting some pussy, they getting some good head, and they getting some free meals, and you can lay up on the couch. Bro, you're gonna see him walking through the mall holding hands with a fat bitch. And she might be upset. She might go upside his head. Let's keep it a buck. I've seen it my whole life.
This is the thing, though, brother AM1. I mean, when I was a young guy, right? When I was in college and all that shit, you know, I didn't go to an academic college like, you know, the smart brothers up here. I went to a technical college. And you know, I dealt with white women. You know, white women and Latino women and shit. You know, I dealt with a lot of different kind of women. I didn't give a shit, you know, what color they were or where they came from. But I mean, I would only fuck with. I would give black women a little more leeway than I would, like, say, a white girl or a Latino girl. I wouldn't fuck with a white girl or Latino girl. She had to be bad. I mean, if I was fucking with her, she had to be like really, really nice looking. She had to have a certain body type. All that shit, certain hair color, all that shit. If she was white, Latino, Asian, whatever, she had to fit a certain mold. With black women, it was a little different. You know, she didn't necessarily have to be a 9. You know, she could have been a 6. You know, that kind of shit. I mean, when I fucked with white women and Latino women, I fucked with ones that were really nice looking, and the fat ones were definitely a non-starter. You know, they weighing like 300 pounds. It's like, ooh, that was a non-starter when I was a young guy.
Were you ever a broke, dusty, lame dude that without lacking charisma? Were you ever
facts? I was just about to say that. I was like, hey,
not that I can
always had.
Prophet, I don't think you were a type of brother that was
exactly
dusty, homosexual type dude, because you have to understand there is a clan and class of black males that have been produced by the gynocentric Black America that are homosexual dusty dudes. What your generation probably would call a chili pimp. My uncle would call them like a chili pimp. So these are the dudes that are fucking for a place to stay, fucking for some betting games, fucking for some Cheerios. So you gotta understand that
for some Cheerios.
Most certain
is like he's a certain kind of guy that was produced by the crack generation, produced by the black matriarch itself. They produce those type of men. The kind of
Aren't those
brothers.
homosexuals?
Yeah,
You
those
said what?
Yeah,
homosexuals.
the
The
homosexual.
homosexuals, right?
Yeah,
It,
but even amongst the homosexual class, there's a hierarchy because you have to understand. The high class homosexual is a gigolo. That's gonna be the guy who's gonna be on some, like, you know, that black dude that's over there dating that white Norwegian princess. He might be a homosexual, but he's the high class. But then there's the bottom, so it's like a spectrum. The bottom of the totem pole are these dusty dudes that were raised by Section 8 single mothers that they're just fucking for like Cheerios and a place to stay. So they're gonna take whatever bitch they can find. And remember, here's what we often overlook this aspect as well, because remember, white boys have always had like a very high standard of what a white woman should look like. So them motherfuckers, because you know, being from the Midwest, I've seen white boys call a 130-pound woman that's 5'5" fat, whereas to a black man or a Mexican, that's slim thick in this motherfucker, right? So what you will find is often the white woman that's a little bit chubby, a little bit thicker, she amongst white men is considered like a fat bitch that needs to lose some weight, but amongst black and Latino men, she's considered like a fucking prize. So what will happen often is that these dudes will take those women because they're giving them a lot of attention, even though they're a broke ass dude. Because don't get it twisted. A lot of times, white people think all black people are the same. I know this shit for a fact because we used to run trains on white girls, and white women did. I noticed with the white girls, black men, we're all the same to them. Like they'll take a black dick wherever they can get it. You dig?
That's real.
Because black men will give them more attention and good sex for the value of what they're getting, whereas the white dude, he's gonna hold her to a higher standard physically, one, and he's also not gonna put it down like that black dude. I had a white girl tell me this shit, man, and this still with me. I had a white girl, she was a real fine model bitch, right? She told me, you know the difference between rich dudes and broke dudes? I said, what's that? She said, poor dudes fuck like they ain't never gonna fuck again, and rich dudes, black or white, fuck like you ain't worth shit. And that always stood in my mind, this female psychology.
Wow.
Man. She said, broke dudes fuck like they ain't never gonna get pussy again, whereas the rich dudes fuck like they could care if you were there or not. And that shit stood out to me. So when you talk about these white women in the bottom 1/4 of the dating pool that are getting with these black homosexual dudes, these are women who have been casted off a lot of times by their own community, and they get kind of like put on a pedestal by those same brothers, which is the same with the bid wench. The bid wench kind of does the same thing. That's why you find these bid wenches getting murdered and beaten up by these bottom, because they end up dating dudes that are mentally ill and that are omegas and the gammas of the white male dating pool. So it kind of, you're talking about a certain class of black male or a black female that ends up in that situation.
So let me
when you guys go ahead, brother.
I wanted to say this.
Women always used to say that back in the 70s, you know, when black guys go out there and they get them fat ass women and stuff like that. Why they couldn't? But your demographics, man, you got to look at your demographics, because that same brother, just like everybody else was really saying, that same brother would be dating black fat ass women with bad skin and bad hair and everything else. When I'm talking about bad hair, I ain't talking about hair that is kinky by nature. I'm talking about going to the goddamn beauty party and getting a fucked up hairdo. That's what I'm talking about. But you know, so it's like just like everybody else is saying, man, because when you start looking at the whole picture, you know, and just looking at it just the way it is, shit, he ain't gonna be no different if he dates somebody Spanish or Asian or whatever. He's trying to get what he can get where he's at. And just like I say, he's probably tired of sleeping in his mama's basement or in the damn garage and playing Xbox, and she don't throw his ass out. So he's gonna go get the rejection wherever it is, black, white, or whatever it is. And most of the time, them kind of scrubs or whatever the TLC used to call these kind of motherfuckers, because there's so many different names we give these kind of brothers. But I tell you what, when I do see them type of brothers out there you know, with a white girl, I ain't no tear off my goddamn eyeball because I've been like, yeah, we needed your ass out of the race. Really? So you just really doing us a damn favor. You know, you contaminating that other goddamn side now. You so you're not contaminating our side. So you know, it's all what it is, man. You just look at the whole picture. You can look at it but it has to make a complete circle. My thing is the results always tell you the damn truth. You can't get away from that. Results always tell you the truth.
That's real.
You know,
you guys ever hear him say, well, I'm with her because she held me down when nobody else did?
That's what that was the whole.
I've heard that.
Yeah,
I've heard
that. That's the phrase. That's the phrase. My bad, brother BMT. Shoot your joint.
I know brother BMT want to get in here. Go ahead.
I think the thing about it is because, like I said, I try to be level with it. I try to be more so level with it, and I hopefully as we have these discussions, especially on XoDus, that men don't just hear us, but actually take part of this and actually learn from this. You see, like I said, I was that one who did fuck around and, you know, caught feelings for the Tatianas. And the thing about it is I had to catch myself. And see, the thing about it for a lot of black men, and this is where you got to learn how to be self-sufficient. A black man that can be at his lowest point but can rebuild himself back to success, it's a dangerous man. And see, when you learn how to cook, clean, and do for yourself and build up your own wealth without that of the help of a woman, you right there are a weapon or a force to be not to be fucked with. And you see, the thing about it was I've been there. Like I said, I've been there with the girl who done pulled a knife on me. I've been there with the girl who be out there fighting in the goddamn streets, and I'm standing there by a bystander holding the babies and shit. And I'm like, why the fuck am I still here? And you see, the problem is a lot of black men do not know how to cut themselves off and go cold turkey from that type of female. So, Sigma, just hold on, King. You on King? You okay?
What's up? What's up?
So the thing about it is,
hey man, don't be naked wrestling with your girl, man, while the mic is on.
I ain't want to stop the King.
You know what I'm saying? Cut the mic off if you and your girl wrestling in the bed and shit.
So
turn the mic off.
The thing about it is for a lot of the older men that forged our way, and me and one talked about is a lot of black men are not learning how to become self-sufficient where they don't need that woman. Because when you can be self-sufficient without that woman, you can pick and choose if you want to deal with that woman or whatever woman you choose to deal with. But see, a lot of men, they said that something about that black woman, she built me up. See, when you have to use the portion that if I don't have this water bottle, if I don't have this woman, then I go die of thirst. But when you say I don't need this woman, I can fill up my own water bottle. See, that's a different type of man. And the problem is we're seeing it where a lot of these boys, they're on that type of mama type of breast milk where they leave from mama's house and they got to find a woman that can take care of them and level them up. And the same thing happens where you even see it now where the men who do have the wealth, but they want that type of woman to hold them up. And right then and there, you failed yourself as a man. I don't need, listen, if my woman were to walk out today, I'm not going to go starve. I'm going to still be able to cook, clean, and be self-sufficient as a man. And that's the problem. When these women know that you are dependent on them, now, I'm going to tell you right now, man, don't follow some of us now, but this ain't no easy pill for a lot of y'all men to swallow now. Some of y'all, that bitch would have tell you today, oh, that's what you're hearing now? Get out my house. Y'all niggas gonna shut the hell up and turn off the screen. But if you in that type of level of a mindset where you said, listen, you can't tell me how to run my fucking house. See, back then, daddy knew if you didn't like what the fuck he was saying, get the hell out of my house. But most of these men nowadays, they can't say that shit because their ass ain't even on the fucking lease, let alone on a goddamn car payment. And you see, they're in that Jody mode, Prophet. They're in that Jody mode where they used to the woman telling them, pick up your clothes, wash your ass, pick up my children from school. They used to being told what to do and led by the way. See, They like that matriarchal love. They're not used to that patriarchal domination of I can do this shit with or without you. And you see, when you can do that, you're comfortable in your own zone of whatever type of woman you so choose. I am the king of my house, not my wife. My wife understands that.
Well, you're kinda, if you're in a predicament where a woman can get mad at you and say, "Get out of my house," you have already failed. Yeah, you done failed. If you find yourself in that predicament, you have already failed. Because where have you reverted back to? You have reverted back to what, man? You have reverted back to
Play it, Prophet.
Who? Right back to your old.
They gotta go back, Prophet. They gotta go back.
That's the same thing your mama was able to tell you, man. Come on. If you got yourself in that fucking predicament, I don't care what color the woman is. Brother, you done failed.
Right.
Your life sucks.
Right.
Especially if you're a grown-ass man.
And that's most of these
Somebody
men.
can send your ass packing and say, hey,
I want to
get out of my shit.
That is most of these men.
Failed,
brother. And they want to cover that up and say, no, they want to cover that fact and say, no, I'm just here being a real man. I'm being a real man, aka I'm actually powerless in my own house. That's the smoke screen they got to put up for brothers like myself and tell me I'm doing it wrong or you don't know what you're missing. I'm like, nigga, what I'm missing not having to bow down to what nobody else is saying or have somebody even nagging me at all. Soon as the woman started nagging me, guess what I say?
You don't have to go home with her.
It's either get the fuck out or real nicely, I will feel like I want to be by myself now.
You talking about?
It's leave. I can send her home.
They can't send her home, but they in her house.
Sometimes I wonder if people even think that black men have a right to their happiness, man. I listen to you guys talk and I'm hearing your perspective, and I just wonder sometimes, like, is the programming so deep and the stereotype of black men so cemented in people's mind that the idea of black men having happiness, does anyone even care about that? Like the fact that black men just want to be happy and prosperous? I wonder about that sometimes. Because I
can answer that.
It seems to me that all the sacrifice, all the shaming gets put on the shoulders of black men. That's what it feels like to me. Like no one questions the American black woman like a Serena Williams when she gets the white boy. They celebrate this shit. When Tamron Hall, in her prime, one of the more beautiful and successful American black woman, she gets pregnant. It ends up being by a white boy at 50 years old. No one comments on it. It's celebrated. But a black man ever not sacrificing his life, his freedom, and his happiness for this imaginary collective agenda, he is always attacked. I just want to, I wish y'all could help me understand this, because I think that I'm having a problem understanding it from a standpoint of Midwest.
That's where I was going earlier, G.
Go ahead, Art. Go ahead. I feel like we saving souls tonight. Go ahead, Art. We saving souls.
I was always thinking about that, man. Sometimes when we have these discussions, you know, when somebody is with someone else of another culture or whatever, sometimes you hear a sister say, "I know what you want." You know, they like with a very angry demeanor. You know, well, you just want somebody to cook and clean, don't you? And it's like, yeah. You know, I mean, it's something to where, like brother King Sigma was saying, is that it just really does sound like black men are not supposed to be happy. We don't really hear too many people say, "Hey man, if you happy, cool, do your thing." We don't hear, I mean, brothers say that a lot, you know, "Hey, do you think there's a fat player, you know, do you think?" But just in a worldwide fashion, it's like even white folks don't want you to be happy with someone else that's different. Nobody wants you to be happy as a black man. And the thing is, I'm not saying that you can't be happy with a sister or anything like that, because when a sister has everything going and everything clicking, that's your heaven. I mean, that's the ultimate heaven. So I'm not gonna sit there and turn that down. But and then again, I mean, but I'm just trying to say is that again, it just seems like we're not supposed to be happy as black men. I mean, what's your guys' take on that, especially what Sigma was saying?
We're just utility. We're not supposed to be happy. We're supposed to be in a place where we can be making money for them and making them feel good and giving them their attention. And we're supposed to also be under the boot of these white men as well, because then that works to the advantage of the women who want to have us pinned down. Nothing about that has anything to do with our happiness. Our happiness, what are you talking about? Who cares if we're happy? Nigga, you better be happy just being my husband and sitting up on this couch with me and getting them kids ready for school and handing over your check, and you know what I'm saying? Like that's your happiness right there. What else are you talking about? What are you talking about? Black man happy? What? Whoever thought whoever gave you the impression that anybody gave a shit about that? What kind of shit? That black man happy? Fuck out of here. That's how crazy it is, though. That's really what it is. Like nobody legit thinks about that at all. Like that's so when you start saying that and brothers start having these discussions, we get in these manosphere discussions. That's why we have men who are in that position and realize they are at the mercy of it. They will come in here and try to throw all kind of monkey wrenches in discussions where brothers are actually talking about how to get out of that or talking about the benefits of not being in it. And when don't even talk about a brother like myself, 40 years old, no kids, working for myself. I'm free as fuck. Well, you don't know what you're missing, brother. What happens when you get old? What happens if this? What happens if that? What about this? What about that? Everything you want to throw in my face as a smokescreen to hide the fact that you are pinned down and you are fucking unhappy. Misery loves company. Misery loves company. Go ahead.
That's funny that they attack you on those grounds. They use the old shaming tactic of, well, you gonna grow old and lonely. First off, most of these dudes that say that, they don't even have a couch to sleep on because their baby mama done kicked them out. They living in a homeless shelter on the streets. Do you know how high the rate is of homelessness among black men now? We're at a 40% clip of homelessness now, dude. Black men are only 5% of the population or so, and they represent 40% of the homeless. Okay? So this whole idea that you're gonna have his wife there, someone like Prophet is a rarity in this day and age. Someone that can have a marriage that lasts more than 5 years. Do you understand how fucking rare it is for people that are under 40 now? People treat marriages like dating now. The way that people treat a marriage in 2019 on average is the way that someone 30 years ago would have treated like dating or something like that. Like they look at a marriage as something that's supposed to last like 1 to 3 years, and then they cash your ass out for the next dude. That's how women are treating marriage today. So these dudes that use that example, again, another false analogy, because the data proves that most of these relationships only last 3 years, and that when the woman comes to cash out, the courts lean heaviest towards her. So whilst he is saying, oh, you're going to be alone and this and that, more than likely, he's going to be the old man on the street with the cup begging you for quarters as you walk by, suited and booted with your health. And then you might have 1 or 2 women on your arm, because no one talks about the fact that none of the resources that have come from the government have gone to black men in 30 years. All the resources have gone to black women that were supposed to go to all black people. That's why black males' health, no one cares about it. Black men being the ones that die, the only group that dies quicker than black men, I think, is tied between Native Americans and black men now. And they have more of a drug alcohol problem than the average black man does. So that shows you how bad our condition is from a health standpoint. Nobody talks about the fact that black men have put in the most into the American system in terms of blood, sweat, tears, taxes, or whatnot. And we have a group gotten the least out of the shit. We have been bamboozled as a collective, bro. Nobody gives 2 fucks about the sacrifices that our ancestors have made in all these wars. No one cares about the fact that we forced this system to equalize the playing field to some degree. It's been black men that have been on the front lines of every movement to force America to live up to the ideals of this country, but we have gotten nothing as a group collectively because we bet on the wrong fucking horse. We should have been betting on ourselves and controlled the fucking agenda, because a matriarchy will always descend into chaos. Why? The feminine principle is a chaotic principle. That is what it is at its core. The masculine principle is one of order, logic, and rationality. Black men bet on chaos instead of betting on their fucking selves. And now that they made the wrong bet as boomers and older Gen Xers, they want the millennial man to restart this shit and sacrifice his happiness. I say, no, no, no. Create a better feminine product that you can offer to those millennial men, and he will build it automatically. But see, you can't, because y'all failed the millennial man and the millennial woman. The older Gen Xers and boomers fucking was too busy smoking crack and slanging crack instead of building the kind of feminine women that these men would automatically want to sacrifice for. Now they want to use us as a fucking scapegoat. I ain't having it, man.
I get it.
Okay.
I get it.
I want to
millennial son. So, and yeah, we've been joined by my man AJ. Go ahead, chime in, brother.
What's going on, brother X? What's going on to the panel?
What up?
And what's up, King Sigma? What's up to the rest of you guys?
In here with the
yeah, actually, I was for to chime in on that, because that's what I was going to say. Because when y'all was talking about the homosexuals, what I was going to really throw out there, what we keep missing is that actually Gen Xers, mostly, I want to say we was the ones that really started that type of thing going on, staying with a woman, towards, and I don't have the stats, but I'm just throwing it out there from what I've seen, that basically that with Section 8 and men staying with women, that was usually during our generation, because beforehand you had usually men that they was mostly married. Like my father, he was married, and what was that, the baby boomers that I saw, because I'm not going to throw no numbers out there, but they was mostly married. Now, when it came to us, yeah, you start having men basically staying with women, but we keep missing the main elephant that's in the room. That's why I was kind of getting upset with you guys, and I was disagreeing, because I feel like I was kind of joking around with that. I think mostly with these men, it's not their fault, because these men was getting raised like that. Because when the fathers was getting kicked out the home during the feminist era, this was what started to happen. So these men was getting raised in these Section 8 homes with no guidance, and not to basically, even then, it wasn't no internet. There wasn't no type of something that could show them like on TV or something to be men. So this when you start seeing the transition start to happen, and now, as you guys were saying, like you see these guys with the millenniums and whoever, they're dating these fat white women and things of that nature. I mean, it's worse. They don't have no guidance. I mean, it's from generation to generation, and it's getting worse. And with me, just to throw it out there, because like when I had a little, I do the construction. I'm not gonna say specifically what I do, but I would take the L to go, because I had a contract downtown. Do you know how many homeless black boys I was seeing? And it was like they was getting younger and younger. Like I seen a 8-year-old black boy homeless with an older guy. And I just and to me it's just like these guys, they're getting brought up in the system, and I mean, if they don't want to be homeless, what else choice do they have?
How do we explain brothers in the manosphere that sit up on these panels for hours upon hours and soak up game from brothers that are married, single, married with children, every possible configuration of how a black man can be, and hear about the female fuckery, hear about all these things, hear information from younger single brothers like myself. How do we explain older black men who were raised a certain way but sit for hours over years, soak up all this game, but still spout off the same bullshit, the fantasy land shit, through their own lens, and try to enforce that on other brothers? How do we explain that? Somebody help me with that.
And see, I'm not trying to make and not to cut anybody off. I want to answer that too. Not to cut anybody off. Personally, I mean, it's nothing to be explained. If he choose to do that, that's something that he has to deal with. Me personally, I'm all for what you brothers saying and the things that you brothers teach. King Sigma will tell you, I promote that brother, and that's my brother from a mother. I totally agree with mostly what he says, and I like that he promotes. AM1, I seen you on other panels. I promote what you're saying, and I'm all for you guys, doing what you guys doing. But I get it. There are other guys like you say that does shit like that. But I mean, honestly, to me personally, I wouldn't even listen to him. I'm for what you brothers doing. I'm for what you guys, the movement that y'all present. All and I'm trying to say is that sometimes we got to really, not be so harsh with some of these, millenniums that's in them situations, because it's like, they didn't ask to be put in that. They like we say with these black women, and let's just say women in general, have birth and know the father ain't about shit.
Let's call it what it is, brother
Right.
AJ. It's they old mamas. Let's call it what it is because of their old mamas. Go ahead.
Okay. Yeah, and they put them in these situations, and there's no accountability. And these boys, they grow up in these fucking fucked up ass homes, and then do you expect them to be responsible, accountable black men? No.
Nope.
There's no guidance. What was there? They become homosexuals. They don't know nothing else.
Well, we have to hold on a second, brother Sigma. We have to distinguish between, the brothers who, they got this old bullshit ass mama, and all she want to do is smoke crack and suck dicks and shit, and throw the boy out. Okay, throw the boy out when he's like 12, 13. That's different than a brother who is 30 years old, 35 years old, because even if mom did kick you out when you were 12, by the time your black ass is 35, you should have been done figured it out. So there's a difference between brothers like that who have been forced into a situation and brothers who actually have some degree of control over the situation that they are in. Because I'm a 50-year-old man, okay? If my fucking house burnt down tonight and my wife said, you know what, nigga, your house done burnt down, I'm out, right? I would not become a homosexual and go live with some 350-pound white bitch because I need a place to stay. I would be doing something, until even if I had to freaking get me a hotel for a couple weeks and then rent me a storage unit and live in that for the next week till I got me a house, So I think we got to distinguish. Between the people who have like kind of been forced out there and the people who are kind of like doing what they're doing by choice because they lazy as a motherfucker and they don't want to build nothing for themselves. That's all I want to say on that.
Go ahead, King. Go ahead. My bad.
I was going to add to what you were saying, AJ, because, I think that we underestimate how far this shit has gone. I was listening to a video from the Democratic Party, and they were interviewing all these different kind of black women. They were from different classes, unemployed, working class, middle class, upper class. And you know what really shocked me about what these women were saying? These American black women were saying that the black vote goes to the black woman. And I'm sitting there thinking, I'm listening to this shit, right? Now, black women only outnumber us by 2 million, right? So there's like 20 million of them or 21 million of them and a little bit less than 21 million of us, right? Now, they're interviewing these women. No matter what the class of this American black woman is, she claimed that the black vote went through her. She totally disregarded the other 50% of the black counterparts for these American black women. So the black male was just totally disregarded, even though his one vote counts and he actually has a higher income than the black woman on average. They just disregarded all the factual shit that we have our own vote, that we make more money than them, and that we are more educated than them actually. How do I know? On standardized tests, black men score higher than black women. On every standardized test in America, we score higher than them. So we're smarter, we have more money, and we have the agency to vote. But yet, anytime political conversations or anything related to the black community is talked about, it always goes through this black woman. So when you talk about the impact of the matriarchy on this current generation of millennial men, we can't underestimate how much power these American black women have had in brainwashing these fucking crack babies. I know no one wants to talk about it, but when we talk about an ADHD that is impacting the black young male, this is from being born to crackhead mothers and thugged out fathers. Okay? Everyone wants to put all this fucking blame on a generation that hasn't even reached the age of 40 yet and just totally disregard the last 2 generations that were fucking crack dealers, man. Selling fucking crack to their own mamas, grandmothers, and aunts. And then now they in their 60s and shit like that. And they want to look around for salvation. And the millennial black male has done all these crimes. What fucking crime has the millennial male done? They haven't even reached the age of 40 yet. They didn't have no institutions built by Gen X and the baby boomers. They didn't have no structure. They didn't have a quality mate. None of this shit was produced by the boomers and Gen X. But yet, all this fucking burden gets put on the shoulders of men that haven't even reached the age of 40 yet. I don't understand this.
No, I mean, me personally, and you know, I'm in my son's lives, but I take accountability, you know, and responsibility for that. And that's why I always reach back. You know, me and you, King, we done had convos like when I would talk about, you know, towards when I made my transition from the streets to, you know, me becoming a working man, and I try to reach back. And I don't reach back just to millenniums. Actually, I reach back to guys within myself, because that's what made me come on and talk about this, because I know certain situation guys my age, and I saw them getting raised by a single mother and the hell they went through. So those usually the guys I reach back and say, you know, because some of them guys, well, fuck that. Let's be real. Most of them guys are fathers. Now, you know, can I say, are they in their kids' life? No, most of them, no, they're not. But I get it. You know, they don't have the funding, they don't have the job. So, and then the other shit they go through, they just say like, fuck it. But me personally, I just be like, okay, well, hey, I could probably, because I'm willing to try to go back and reach them guys. The millenniums, I figure like, okay, it's a social media. You guys are fighting. I want to be behind. I want to actually support you guys too, because I'm liking. I think it's the OG. I think his name Jay Speed. Would he be saying that he supports the younger guys? I'm the same as him. You know, I'm for that. It's good to see that, because this shit is needed. But my thing with me is like, you know, most of us, King, we do try to take accountability. Like myself, you know, I talk about my past run-in with the law. I take accountability for that. But I also try to reach back and tell, you know, guys like, you know, come on, you can make something of yourself. You don't have to be staying with this broad. You ain't got to be letting this broad treat you like shit, man. You just because you a felon, that don't mean you can't get a job. I mean, I was able to do it. You could do it. Just get off your ass and try. But at the same time, I get it, because I you know, like I said, I had a father. You know, my father did try to teach me, you know, fatherhood. The mistakes I made that shit on my own decision. But I also look at them guys, because a lot of friends that I know that's in that situation, I know them from over 30 years. I know them while we was growing up, their mothers wasn't about shit, and they didn't have a father, and they had no guidance. I didn't know no better, because, you know, I had a father. So I didn't know, you know, I thought this was the usual, you know, being in a community, which, to be honest with you, never was a fucking black community, because this is not, if it's not no marriage couple, it's not a family, it's not a community. But I didn't know. Nobody ain't never tell me that. But now, as I look back at it, them boys was getting abused. They was getting treated like shit. And that's why now they grow up. That's why they ain't shit, you know? And then they, like you said, I get it. And then they had kids. And most likely the kids ain't shit. But see, that's what I'm trying to just, even at this stage point. And this is the only point I'm trying to make, guys. Even now, like a person in their 40s like myself, you still can make something of yourself. You don't have to be staying with that female.
I got a question.
Very, very true. Very true.
What use? This is for you and then the whole panel, because I've been thinking about this. In 2019, with the move from the industrial situation to the fourth wave revolution of technology, we know that during the first, second, and third, Black people were the biggest labor force. We were mostly a working class people up until the late 80s, right? 2019, what use does the dominant society and the rest society have for blacks in general as a group? I want to know what you guys think about that.
None.
Great question. I would, I would say none.
I mean,
I
black
think,
people have been replaced with immigrants, man, and Latinos and shit.
There
man.
you go. There you go. But then you got to look at brothers like Robert Smith, not to cut you off, Brother X. And now we got to start seeking our own path.
Yep.
But they say Robert Smith is a sellout, AJ, because he has a white.
And that's good. And that's good. Let them say that. You leave them people behind. And the other ones that got common sense, that's who you go follow.
That doesn't make any sense though. I mean, you gonna call somebody a sellout who pays off all these young brothers college freaking debt, and he's a sellout. Why? Because he sticks his penis in some white girl? I mean, to me, that's stupid. Okay. I mean, I could say I could go along with people if he took that $40 million and paid the college debt of a bunch of white boys. Then I'd be like, wait a goddamn minute. But I mean, you bailing out the brothers, I ain't got no problem with you. I don't give a fuck who you fucking.
But it doesn't matter.
You looking out for the brothers, I don't care.
But it does.
We're talking about mediocre Negroes here. That's mediocre Negro thinking.
Yeah, King said, man, it only matters to them sisters that's over there running their mouth.
That's dudes too. Some dudes. Some dudes say that bullshit too.
Well, that's what I said. That's what I said at the end. I said, and the dudes that subscribe to it as well. Yeah.
Word up.
I tell you what. I bet you all those brothers whose college loans he paid off, I bet you they don't think he no goddamn sellout.
Not at all.
Right.
I bet you they don't think that. They probably think he's one of the greatest goddamn black men. They probably got a portrait of him up on their goddamn on their desk. You know, they got a fucking they got a portrait of him this size. You see the picture behind me? They got a portrait of that motherfucker this size on their goddamn
shit. I would.
Because guess what? If he gave me like $1 million, I'd have a goddamn portrait of him. When my shit come on, you just see a picture of that motherfucker behind me.
I got the shirt and everything.
Yeah, instead of this shit here. You know what I'm saying? You see a picture of him. But two things I gotta say. Let me say this shit because I gotta say it. I have really, really enjoyed talking to you brothers tonight. And the second thing, I must really like you goddamn Negroes, boy, because y'all got me up at 1:30, and I got to be up in like 4.5 hours. So I'm gonna let everybody throw their final statement because you know we about to close out because my black ass do got to be like up in like 4 hours. So everybody go ahead, kick their bottom shit. If you want, we can continue this conversation next week. I'll figure out something we can do for next week. But right now, my black ass need to go to bed, brother. So everybody give me their final statements, and then I can kick your ass off of here and go sleep.
Well, my final statement would be the reason that I asked that question is because I think that we have to stop talking about all these theoretical situations. We have to stop talking about all this hocus pocus. We have to start thinking in terms of the reality of the fourth industrial revolution that we're in. And if what the brother prophet said is true, and others on the panel said is true, that the country no longer needs black labor, that's the conversation divide right there. We have to start having the conversation from the fact that most of the history of America, they needed black labor. And now they no longer need black labor. What they need is those that are experts in different fields, and black people have to figure out how to compete in those fields. So I just want to leave you guys with that thought that let's stop having these conversations about this imaginary Wakanda. I mean, that shit all sounds good. I will be the first one to admit it sounds great when you say it, but none of it matters if you can't produce, if you can't control the means of production, if you can't get the distribution institutions under your control, and if you can't control the consumption patterns of those that you consider in your in-group. So I'm gonna just leave it with that thought. So if we can't control the economics, we might as well stop having these useless conversations, start talking about how do you control the distribution, the production, and the consumption institutions. And peace to you all, and have a good night, brothers.
You too, King.
Who's next? I'm rolling
Let me get on.
everybody out the door as fast as possible.
Yeah, let me get on out of here, man. Hey, brother X, man. I appreciate this. Letting me come on a short notice. Wait, hold on. I thought I was hearing some echo. You know, I was trying to stay in the background in the chat because you guys was throwing some straight fire. Like I said, I always, I be learning things from you guys. This panel was excellent. You probably gonna have to do a part 2 like you do, brother X, man. And I'm just glad that to be here, man. Watch you grow, man. I hope you keep growing, you keep doing your thing, and yeah, it will be a pleasure, next time if you do a part 2 or something, and we could I could chime in more about the topic. So
yeah,
appreciate
it. Maybe we'll do a part 2 on Wednesday because Thursday the brother Jay Speed he wants to do something on the sexual nature of men. So Thursday's show is already booked. So maybe we'll do a part 2 next Wednesday. If y'all brothers is up for it, you're always welcome on the old TPOT YouTube page. But carry on, brother.
Yeah, and I appreciate being I try to be a usual suspect. I've been missing in action, but I'm there.
Man, what the hell? God damn it!
I'm working 2 jobs now.
We still set a plate out for you and shit.
Yeah.
And
I appreciate it, brother X. So good night to you, brothers, man. Thank you again.
Peace, brother AJ.
Peace, brother.
Peace.
Okay, I'll go next, G. Hey, first of all, thank you for having me on the panel this evening, brother. I truly appreciate it. Thanks for reaching out. My closing words would just simply be for everyone to continue to do what's in their best interest, to continue to pay it forward. If you're focused on business, if you're focused on community, if you're focused on all of the above, go for it. Do it to death. I'm not one to come here and point fingers in regards to what anyone is attempting to do to get themselves to the next level. So I say salute to that. And I would like to keep in contact with a lot of you brothers. Perhaps we can network in some other ways, depending on what you guys got going on outside of this. Maybe my skills combined with some of these other brothers on the panel skills. And I think that's a step in a great direction to get a lot of these things accomplished. Because again, as I mentioned earlier, it's about those small pockets and maneuvering within those small pockets. I hear a lot of people talk about, the UNITY, and while that's a great idea, it's unrealistic. So, the Spartans only needed 300, and so I'm big on the 300 number. So 300 strong brothers go out there and make it happen. And, and the rest of them, they'll about face when they see the actions from those 300 strong. So peace to the panel. Y'all keep rocking, brothers. I'm out.
Absolutely. Thanks for coming through, brother AJ.
I just want to say salute to the brothers on the panel, and I think brother X should go another hour. No, I'm just fucking around. Yeah, no, I know you got to get up and handle that business, and I appreciate that. I salute you, OG. What King Sigma said pretty much summed it all up. We need to be about the skills and the resources if we really trying to move forward with this. That's it. Anything else is a bunch of bullshit. We need the skills and the resources, and we got to take the time out to build those skills. That's it. I'll leave it at that.
Mm-hmm. Thanks for coming through, brother AM1. Appreciate you, brother. Next up.
Like to say thank you. Just like to say thank you for having me on your panel tonight, brother. I'm learning. This is new for me, but it's not. Entertainment is not new for me. But when it comes down to the masterminds of think tanks, putting it on YouTube, now that's something different for me. And I want all you brothers, the younger brothers, to understand we know as OGs where we failed. We know where we came short. This is my gear back right here. What I do, I try to reach back and give back. It's so easy for me to understand the new generation due to the fact I had a father who understood me and my direction that I wanted to go. And the only thing he ever told me was never join the military. And in anything else under that, I was able to make decisions on myself. So it's easy for me to see the new generation and understand them because I see it as a building block. I don't see none of this as being failure. What I do see is we're just climbing steps. Because one thing we got to understand, we all come into the consciousness at different times. And when you lived as long as I lived and seen this stuff repeat itself over and over, but still take many steps in building out of it too, then it makes you smile that you can embrace a new generation of people who's moving and was able to fight a fight that I was not privy to or had the luxury to fight, because my fight back in them days was something totally different. I was fighting to keep my home intact. I was fighting for the woman and the children. So to see now that we are having these conversations where men, young men, are coming out and telling not only men now, but telling women what they feel, what they think, and what they want. See, these are the conversations like OGs, us in our days, we talk among men's just, and we didn't even let our women be privy of the conversation. So it's a joy to see black men standing up now straight where nobody can walk on their back and saying exactly what they want. And I guarantee you, when it's all said and done, we'll reach that goal and we'll be rejoicing at the finish line.
I appreciate you coming through, OG. And you know we got a date next week, man.
Yes, sir.
Thursday. All right, OG?
Yes, sir.
All right. Brother Art?
Yeah, so my usual is
Oh,
say no to
boy.
drugs.
And don't start forest fires.
Yeah, stay in school and don't start forest fires. You know, keep the matches to yourself. Yeah, but I have fun with the brethren. I wanted to address AM1, but it's some long-winded up in here, boy.
Yeah,
But I
you
wanted to
know
address
how it
AM1.
is, man. When you get more than 5, 6 people up here, it's just
Yeah, I gotta put on a jacket. It's like no, I'm joking. But you know, AM1 was asking about, you know, why so many youngsters regurgitating all the stuff that they're hearing recklessly. And I would say to that is that too many young brothers are trying to choose their wisdom instead of letting it grow naturally. And most of the time they're not using enough cognizance to figure out that it ain't working. You know, you can't talk your way out of everything. You know, you got to live it. So I want to throw that out there. And we got brother OG J Speed. If you can drop your email in the Google Hangout, I want to do some collaborations with you. And also RJ, I have a MPHC, MPHC, what do you call it, panel that I'm going to be doing on a regular basis, you know, because he said he's an IOTA. So if you can drop your email, if he's listening, you can drop your email in the panel as well. But I appreciate it, Brother X, for including me in this dialogue. It's been very productive. I like to hear brothers with fresh ideas, and everybody came together because of you. I appreciate it.
Oh, absolutely, Brother Art. You already know, just like I'm telling the people in the chat room, Brother Art is royalty on the TPOT YouTube page.
Appreciate it, fam.
Talking about. Yeah, I appreciate you coming through, Brother Art, man. And I told you, man, I'll be trying to catch your lives, man, but goddamn, they be on too early, brother.
Yeah, I try, man. I try.
Your jokers be all kind of early.
I'm trying not to conflict with everybody else's lives because everybody's doing stuff.
There go my man Jay Shine in the goddamn house. Where the hell was you at tonight, man? Damn it. Needed you here on this shit, man. Damn it. But yeah, man. Yeah, I'll be trying to catch you, Brother Art. You know, I catch your replays though, so you know.
Yeah, I'm gonna try to keep them shorter so it'll be easier on the eyes.
Okay. I appreciate you coming through.
I might do Isaac Hayes next week, so.
You know, I appreciate you coming through, man. I do, man. It's always a pleasure to have your wisdom on here, man, and your words and all that shit, man. You already know what it is between you and I, so it's all good. You know, absolutely. Me, I'm gonna close out with this. Um, Tonight we talked about brothers who choose and chose others, whether that's Latino, uh, Asian, white woman, a horse, a giraffe, a gorilla, or a rhinoceros. Brothers who chose others. Now, I'm not one to tell people who they should be with. Okay. I didn't even tell my own sons that. Okay. And they're my sons, right? The children that they had, going to have, are going to be my grandchildren because my sons have my last name. Children gonna have my last name too. So you would think that I was heavy into telling them who to lay down with and who to procreate with. I would be staunch on, hey, don't you be with this, that, and the other type of woman. But that's not my style. I'm not trying to tell people who to be with. All right. That wasn't the point of this show tonight at all. Basically, what the point was to give some insight on why brothers do what they do. Because this was more about the brothers than the women. Y'all already know. X is about the brothers. So it was more so about the brothers, the choices they make, the women they choose, and what, quote unquote, makes the brothers happy. I mean, some of us, we just fine with being with black women and married to black women, but other brothers are not. And that's okay. I don't pass judgment on them any way, shape, form, or fashion. I don't. I think every brother should do what he feels is going to make him happy, what's going to make him grow, what's going to make him build. Because that's what it all comes down to. Now you have people say, oh, that's selfish thinking, that's this, that's that. You're not thinking about, the collective. But like I always say, it's hard to think about the collective when the goddamn collective doesn't think about you. So brothers who feel like the collective has not thought about them, you can't expect them to think about some damn collective. They're not part of the collective, and the collective has made them aware of that. So they have gone off to do things on their own. And I think that's perfectly fine. You know why? Because it's not like it's everybody. It's not like it's all of us. And shit, who cares? Like I said, I got half Latino grandchildren, so I'm not mad. Now, I might have been a little mad if, you know, they had kids with, the old blonde haired, blue eyed chick from Sweden. That might have would have pissed me off just a little. But that's not the case. That's not the case. You brothers do whatever make you happy, man. If you like being with white hoes and Latino hoes and Asian hoes, it's your life. Live it. But I will say this before I go. I would rather see you with a 350-pound black woman as opposed to being with a 300-pound white woman. I'm just saying. But anyway, good show tonight. I appreciate all the brothers. A lot of brothers came through tonight, man. Brothers that I didn't even expect came through tonight. A lot of talented brothers, smart brothers, intelligent brothers. I appreciate y'all. I appreciate the moderators in the chat, the people in the chat. And most importantly, I appreciate you for sticking around for 4.5 damn hours watching us and spending some time with us tonight. I wish y'all are going down there, man, to Prophet of Thought series on Facebook. That's Prophet of Thought, one word series, the next word on Facebook. That's our main page. It's a community page. Go down there, like the page, share the page, follow the page. You can even catch up with old X on the page. Go ahead and drop me a line. I'm guaranteed to get back to you within 24 and 148 hours. Guaranteed. Also, while you're on Facebook, go ahead and stop at the Prophet of Thought series fan group page. That's right, the Prophet of Thought series fan group page on Facebook. Go ahead, request to be a member. You're guaranteed to get in there. If you have any problems, you drop OX a line. I'll talk to the admins. I'll make sure they get you in there. I had a couple people write me the other day, oh, X, man, I couldn't get in the group. So my admins, they be crazy sometimes because believe it or not, they even block OX shit sometimes. I'd be like, what the hell? So if you got a problem getting in the group, just drop me a line. I'll make sure you get in there. It's a good group. It's like damn near 3,000, might be at 3,000 now. I don't even know. I haven't checked in a while. Damn near 3,000 people there. So there's plenty of shit going on there. You ain't just got to listen to X run his mouth. There's other black folks down there running their own mouth too. So go ahead, request to be a member. Also, check us out on WhatsApp and Instagram. That's Prophet of Thought. Leave out the series on Instagram. You follow us on Instagram, you're guaranteed to get a follow back. Here we go again. Here we go again with this Twitter shit. I need your black behinds to get down to Twitter. Let me spell it for you. It's TWITTER. Once again, TWITTER. I need your black behinds to get down there to Twitter. The Twitter handle is at TPOT Media on Twitter. That's at TPOT Media on Twitter. Get on down there, follow us on Twitter, because if you don't, I will haunt you in your dreams till next year. So once again, I want to thank everybody for coming through tonight. And most importantly, I want to thank my most distinguished guests, Brother AM1, Brother Art, Brother BMT, the OG J Speed 60, King Sigma, Brother RJ, and my man AJ, formerly known as Why You Mad. I appreciate all you brothers for coming through tonight. And also, make sure you have your black behinds here next week, Wednesday and Thursday, 9:30 p.m. Eastern Time, for more of this debauchery called the Prophet of Thought Series YouTube page. I'm just fucking with y'all. Make sure you have your black behinds here, 9:30 p.m. Eastern Time on the TPOT YouTube page, because we're probably going to have a part 2 of this. And then Thursday, the OG J Speed is going to be doing a showcase about the sexual desires of black men. So you don't want to miss those shows next week. Make sure you have your black behinds here. All right. And I appreciate all of y'all tonight. I saw a few donations come in. I didn't get a chance to check them, but I did see them come into my email. So y'all already know I'm going to check them, and I will be thanking you when I go through them. But it's late as hell. I ain't trying to do that shit tonight. Got to be up in like 4 hours, y'all. So I appreciate y'all coming through. And with that, I will leave you with 3 words, like I always do. Open your minds, and we are out of here. Finally. Y'all.
Dark exodus. We gotta stop this shit.
Think about this. Peace, folks.
Stop this shit.
Only from TV.